This podcast is sponsored by Ed. We want to wish him, first off, a happy birthday at the top of the show. Happy birthday, Ed.
Happy birthday.
If you're listening.
And
if you're listening to this before or during your bar exam experience, we wish you the best of luck. For those who are curious, Ed is taking the bar this week. It is a grueling and terrible experience, as I'm sure he will also attest when he comes back on the show, hopefully next week or the week after. I don't know if he's taking a few weeks off or not. We will not blame him if he does. And he's going to try and make it to Otakon, so we want to wish him the best. And of course, this episode is sponsored by Kolektakon, your source for One Piece Mega House merchandise. So, Steve, are you ready to get into the show?
Yes, sir.
Let's do it then.
Okay.
This is the unofficial One Piece podcast, episode 330 for the week of Monday, July 28th, 2014. My name is Zach.
And my name is Steve.
And even though it's just the two of us starting this episode, we have a lot of special guests today. Of course, we have very special guests from Weekly Shonen Jump, translator for One Piece, Stephen Paul, will be joining us for the episode. We have from MangaUK joining us for a special interview. We have Jeremy. And, of course, we have Josh Kocurek, One Piece brand manager for FUNimation, on the show with us today. And you and me, Steve, we're here the entire time. We have a Toonami Recap, a Manga Recap, we have our MangaUK segment, and we have a supersized piece together. Lots of cool stuff to go through. We are going to be at Otakon. That is going to be in 2 weeks, like 9 days from now or something from this recording. Make sure to join us because we will have a panel that Saturday. Don't know what time, don't know what place, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be on Saturday. So join us at Otakon in Baltimore, Maryland. What else do we have? I think that's the main thing coming up. We have a lot of cool stuff coming up in the next few weeks. This is a really cool special episode, so I think we shouldn't really waste any more time. Let's get right into it. You ready, Steve?
We should.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special interview segment with Jeremy from MangaUK. How's it going, Jeremy?
I'm doing very, very well, thank you, and thank you very much for inviting me onto the program. It's a real privilege.
Oh, of course. We've really wanted to have people from international distribution on for a while. I think you're our first from a country that's not the U.S. or Japan, so it's a privilege to have you on. So, I mean, first, I guess we should talk about how did MangaUK, how has One Piece been doing for MangaUK?
One Piece has been doing pretty well, especially in my opinion. It is very, very popular, but when you compare it to titles such as Naruto and Bleach, it isn't as grandiose of a scale, but it's got a very, very dedicated fan base. And Toei Animation have been very happy with how it's been selling, and I think it's one of the reasons why, and I'll say this more from a personal perspective rather than as a company perspective.
Of course.
But I think in the UK, we are able to bring some of the best deals, if you will, of the One Piece anime to fans, because we're only releasing them in the, I think it's roughly 26 episode collection box set. And they're literally the only way we're going to be releasing the series. And it's a great way. So whenever we do conventions, for example, we had a convention about a week ago in Manchester, and loads of people were coming up and asking, where do I start with One Piece? And it's like, well, just here's collection one. It's got the first 26 episodes. So if that's not enough to really sink your teeth into, then I don't know what is.
That's really cool to hear. So, how is we have a question from a fan that actually has the same one, One Piece-u. So I'll ask it as well. I was gonna go for it. How have the Strong World sales been so far? I know it's only been a couple weeks.
Yeah, Strong World came out it came out a few weeks ago, actually. Sorry, my brain just went a bit blank there.
No,
but yeah, it's also the first release we've been able to do on Blu-ray, which we were very excited about. And as far as I'm aware, they have been quite strong. It's the first One Piece movie to be released in the UK, and on a personal level, I was going to be very interested to see how people would react to it, because where we currently are in the television series when it comes to releasing the DVDs, we're at the next one we're going to be releasing is Collection 7.
Cool.
Which, if I get my episode count right, that has 157 through 182 on it. And when you consider, in theory, where Strong World takes place in the chronology of One Piece, that's after Thriller Bark.
Right.
So for newer fans, if they would see other characters like Frankie or Brooke, they may be a little bit skeptical on if they would enjoy it as much because it's so far in. But it's one of those things where we try to make it as accessible as possible to people. We were able to host clips from the film on our YouTube channel just to give people a little taste of what it's like. And overall, I think it's done quite well. I don't know if it's met all expectations, but that's because our director of acquisitions and marketing is currently in San Diego for Comic-Con. So we're lucky him more than anything. But so
it must be nice.
Exactly. So I've not been able to touch base too much with him about that. But overall, people seem to be really enjoying it, and also the fact that we could bring it to the UK on Blu-ray as well was a very, very good strong point for us.
Of course. And he also asked, and it's a good question, since Film Z is coming out, or Film Z is coming out in the United States this fall, do you foresee that coming for MangaUK and for UK listeners?
I would really like to think it would. I know it is something that we are working on, but there's no concrete information on it. And that's not me just dodging the question. It's literally there is no news at the moment. But I know it is something we are definitely working on. And obviously, given that today, on the day we're recording this, we were able to do a first in any English-speaking territory and release the One Piece movie collection, which has films 1 through 3 on it. One would hope that Film Z, Film Z, however it's meant to be pronounced, because obviously different territories, different pronunciations to the letter Z. Mm-hmm. But one would like to think that would be the next progression once we have all of our movie collection releases out.
Awesome. And do you foresee something One Piece streaming in the UK at any point in time?
That's $1 million question, isn't it? Yeah. It's quite weird. I literally cannot give any kind of definitive answer, because when it comes to that, I believe a lot of it is, I won't say it's down to or in the hands of, but Toei Animation themselves do have a large part to play in that being able to happen. I know for a fact it's something that we are encouraging and to try and make it possible. But when it comes to different territories and licensing, things can change dramatically. I mean, for example, just to give it a random example here, Dragon Ball Z, we were only able to start releasing it about 1.5 years ago, after about a 10-year wait.
Wow.
So it's kind of, so to put it into perspective, and then we got those box sets out as fast as we could, and we've now got through Z, GT, and we're now about to release season 3 of the original Dragon Ball. So sometimes things take a bit of time, but I, as a fan of One Piece as well, I'd like to add, would like to think that at some point in time, us European fans will be able to watch it on a place like Crunchyroll, or perhaps a service like Animax here in the UK as well, or similar.
Yeah, I hope so. We also have Greg here with us. He just joined in. Greg, do you have any questions for Jeremy? If you could hear us.
By podcasting. I got a question.
Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah. You guys are actually getting, you're releasing the films before us in the United States are, even though they're only subtitled. What's been the response to that? Like, what have your fans been saying about getting those films?
I can tell you first and foremost that no one saw it coming, which was amazing. Because sometimes when we plan to go to conventions, like sometimes parts of announcements could leak out because a listing may appear on Amazon UK and such, or some word gets out in some way because it's the internet, it happens. Mm-hmm. But I remember very, very vividly, we went to the Birmingham Comic Con in March of this year, and we had a lot of announcements planned, and I knew that this announcement was in there. And just the look on people's faces when we said, oh, Strong World's coming to the UK. Oh, and we're releasing the first 9 One Piece films. And you just saw people's reactions of, hang on, what? because no one expected it. And as you guys mentioned, it is a subtitle-only release. There is only Japanese audio, excluding movie 8, which will be releasing later this year, but I'll get onto that in a second. But this first collection has the first 3 One Piece films, all in Japanese audio with English subtitles, of which, for anyone wondering, the subtitles are grand, if I do say so myself. I'm super happy with them because, obviously, with any subtitle-only release, you want the subtitles to be great, and I can assure people that they are. And also, to kind of big up the UK, it's kind of nice for us to be able to release something before you guys for once.
I could understand, yeah. I mean, we're also behind, so it's really cool seeing you guys catch up. And I guess it'll lead me into a question I have. How has it been doing just the subtitles versus working with Funimation releases?
Well, I suppose one thing to consider is that because they had not been previously released in an English-speaking territory, that the subtitles weren't going to be coming from Funimation this time around.
Right.
So I believe that when it comes to the actual subtitle assets, there may be a couple of references that differ slightly. So, for example, like Gum Gum, it may be, I can't remember exactly how it is on the movie collection, but I think it may come out as Rubber Rubber on screen on the subtitle, because it is almost a literal translation in many ways. Yeah. But other than that, though, the subtitles and translation are really, really good. And that's not me just trying to put it over for the sake of trying to sell it. Like, as a fan, I was super excited to watch these, and also, you know, quite weary of the fact that this is a big deal for One Piece fans of English, with English as their native language, if you will, on a worldwide level. And I can honestly say, hand on heart, that it's great how good this has come out. And also just the fact that these films are actually getting released, because I remember, I can't remember exactly when Funimation released movie 8, the episode of Alabasta, but for a while...
2008.
Yeah, 2008. So it was before I was actually with MangaUK, and I remember thinking, I wonder if that's going to come out over here, because at the time we didn't have any One Piece over here, like at all in the anime sense of things. And it was also interesting to think, okay, so they've dubbed that one first. Like, I wonder what the thinking was behind that. And admittedly, I don't know, so I don't know why I just brought that up, but there we go. But it's really cool to know that not everything can rely on a dub. And though over here in the UK, the audience is fairly evenly split between those who prefer watching a dub and those who just prefer watching in Japanese with subtitles, although you could argue that this release may cut out a large portion of the One Piece fan base, especially those who are new to them and only familiar with our DVD releases, the fact they're being able to get released at all is amazing. And in conversing on Facebook and Twitter with many, many people, and people occasionally asking, hey, like, why is there no dub with this? And I just say to them, because it doesn't exist. and I just point out that, you know, it's a real great thing that it's getting released at all. And then it gives people a new appreciation for the release, and sometimes I think that's something that's understated and not really what's the word I'm thinking of. That kind of feeling is not really brought to the forefront of anime fans' opinions or what they necessarily think, because
it's true.
Because, I mean, back before I was working with manga, I would just think, right, I want to get this. I just want to get it. And I would be one of those people going, why is it not out yet? You know, bring it to me, sort of. And then when you find out a cool detail about that, and that, you know, it is coming out in the UK first and it's not been released anywhere else, it kind of makes it feel a bit extra special. And it kind of adds it puts it on a new plateau, if you will, or a new level above other releases.
Well, you're definitely carving a new path, I think, for the entire English-speaking world. I mean, first, just to see if these kind of releases could work, the movie releases, because I think that's been a lot of the hesitation that I've been seeing from distributors is can they do well? So we'll find out. So if people go out there and pick it up in the UK, that'll definitely, I think, show a lot of positivity coming out of that. So
definitely, and actually, sorry, just to add something to that, another key thing which I was very happy about after like the internal talks occurred and such about this is I think one of the best things about the way that we're able to release these is the fact that we're doing them in triple packs.
Yeah. Because
obviously when you consider the length of the early films in particular, the first 3 films, they're roughly about an hour each, if that. And the way the pricing structure works over here in the UK, if someone, let's just say hypothetically, had to pay in the region of £15 for a 60-minute film, nowadays that's not something that people may be up for doing just because of the way the economy is and inflation and how times have changed and such. But because it's 3 films in one, and even though they've never been released anywhere else, the fact it's a triple pack, it helps just add more value to it in general. And each film is on its own disc as well, for anyone wondering. It's not just all 3 films crammed onto one dual-layer disc. It's literally each film on its own disc. So it makes each film feel very individual in its own right.
I have one question going to that. Since I'm guessing from what I've been hearing is that you're a pretty big fan of One Piece yourself.
I've actually literally just finished reading the latest chapter before doing this.
Nice. So what movie are you most looking forward to coming out?
For me, I think it would be the 6th one, which was directed by Mamoru Hosoda.
Good choice.
Mainly just because I'm a big Hosoda fan. I mean, Wolf Children, again, not just trying to plug a MangaUK release here, but like Wolf Children is a film that really did sort of it touched me in a way I didn't expect when I first saw it. And the fact that knowing, and also telling people this as well at conventions and such, if you like that film, this guy's directed one of the One Piece films, and people aren't aware of that. And when you have that kind of recognition of a director of that stature doing it, I think that adds a lot. But that said, though, Strong World, I think, is flipping fantastic, and I know that's already available, but I love that film. It's got film. It's got, you can tell it's got Oda's touch all around it. and the first time I saw it was in a cinema in central London when it was being screened here as part of the BFI Anime Weekend Film Festival. And you could just watching it and not really knowing much about the story, because I purposely tried not to watch it before I got to see it. It felt like it was part of the canon of One Piece, if that makes sense. When you can always tell when something feels very, very much a part of the story compared to sometimes maybe when you get the filler arcs, if you will, and they don't necessarily feel like they're really part of it, but they're part of it. And this felt very genuine. That's the word I'm thinking of.
Steve, do you have any questions?
Well, I like what you said there.
Yeah, definitely.
We're talking about movie 6, right?
And movie 10 being genuine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I thought you were saying about movie 9. I'm like, well, that's a nice compliment. But yeah, movie 10 kind of follows that hazy, is it canon? Is it not canon? I don't know if we will ever get a definitive answer. I always treated it like it was canon, but I also treat it like it's, if someone's interested in getting One Piece and you need something fail-proof to show them, I always say go with Strong World, despite and people could argue, oh, there's spoilers. And I said, I think these days, if anyone has seen any picture of One Piece, they've seen the entire cast already. Most likely,
I agree.
Skip too. So
it's a really weird one when it comes to spoilers, especially from the perspective of being here in the UK, because for want of a better way of phrasing it, we're quite far behind.
Yeah,
especially when you compare it to you guys in the States, and I think soon Funimation are going to start to be releasing the Thriller Bark arc, and that's quite a way ahead compared to where we are. As I was mentioning a few minutes ago, like we're sort of before episode 200, which is our next collection release at the moment.
That's right before. Is that right before Skypiea?
Yes, actually, Collection 7 does actually delve into Skypiea, and you see Enel and all the cloud-based antics, as I call it.
Awesome. All right, so we have some Twitter questions, unless Steve, if you have any more questions.
No, let's get into the Twitter questions.
Okay, so I mean, I've covered one of them, but I'll go into more. First one is from Milos, the creator, who said, if and when Funimation does dub them, is it possible that some of the films 1 through 7 and 9 could see a re-release in the UK? There's a lot of ifs in that question.
Yeah, definitely. And I suppose I'm going to add another one. It's like, if it were to happen, I would like to think it could be a possibility. but I'm not, that sounds like I'm dodging the question massively. But it's one of those things where I think now that we have been able to release them in the UK, and yes, they're subtitle only, it adds another foot in the door, as we say here in the UK, of something potentially being able to happen. And if if there is a notable uptake in interest, especially on the US side of things, and then Funimation ultimately think, you know what, we would like to go back and dub these, then that can only help the cause. And
of course, yeah.
And I think it would be really cool if it could get, like there's more of them, if they could get dubbed and then ultimately we could release them dubbed as well, because then for those who only want to watch One Piece dubbed, then they can experience it as well. Because having done it myself a few times, when you try and transition sometimes from the English language audio to the Japanese audio with subs, it can be quite a jarring experience to get around initially. And so I'd like to think that might be a possibility in the future, but honestly, I have no idea if that's in the works. I speaking as a fan here, I would like to think it is, because it does kind of it almost seems to be like a little piece of the jigsaw that's missing in the chronology of One Piece in the English language, in the English spoken world section of the world. I can't think, but you get what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Okay, next question's from RB, who says, with most of the releases announced for this year, how do you feel about the One Piece releases in 2014, and what are your goals in 2015? I guess personal, probably you could answer a little bit more even than professionally.
Well, at the moment, we have got, let me get my figures right here. We have got up to the equivalent of whatever Collection 12 will be licensed for the UK.
Great.
So we're doing, by the end of the year, we will have Collection 8 out, and then next year we'll be releasing 9 through 12, which, if my maths is correct, should take us up to roughly episode 300.
That's a big jump. Yeah, that's in the middle of, or the beginning of Water 7, middle of Water 7, something like that. Oh, no, or it's past that. It's at the end of Enies Lobby, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's a massive story arc in itself over the course of a year, which is great.
No, that is, and the 26 episode sets definitely help things go along a lot faster.
Definitely, and I know in America the way that Funimation released them, you have the half season Voyage sets, if I remember correctly,
and then the 26, yeah.
Yeah, but we just we go straight through to the 26. I don't actually know the reason why we just go straight to the 26, to be honest. But I think but as I was kind of saying earlier, I think it's a great package from that perspective for the UK, because, and I'll say this more on a personal level in case this comes back to bite me at some point, but when it comes to the UK, we are generally sort of the last in line, or we're quite a way behind when it comes to being able to get certain releases available for anime in general. And if there's a way of just being able to shorten that gap a little bit, and us being able to do it for One Piece in the 26 episode box set collection, if that's our way of being able to do it, I am all for that.
Well, I think by the end of next year, the US is going to be like 6 or 7 years behind Japan, and you're only going to be like around a year behind us, probably, if all things keep going as they are. So
UK fans rejoice.
Yeah, there you go. We have a question on Reddit. This one's from Yonko Productions. Given that you're releasing Region 4B One Piece movies, is there any chance that Australians could see a release of the 3 movie features that have become available in the UK? Since we share the same region and Mad Men often co-authors titles with you, is it a possibility for the movies to expand outside of the UK through these sub-distribution agreements, similar to what Funimation has with you guys, or with Mad Men for the TV series?
When it comes to region coding, when it comes to DVD, the UK is actually different to Australia. Just to sort of put a clarification there, UK is region 2 and Australia is region 4, if memory serves. But it's the Blu-ray region that the UK and Australia share. But when it comes to the movie collections, they're only planned for DVD at this time, and that's predominantly because they are subtitle-only releases, and there's lots of costs and things involved and such. And if there was a dub, then it, for all intents and purposes, could be more cost-effective to do that. But obviously, as virtually all these aren't dubbed, it's a bit difficult for that. As to whether they could go further afield, on a personal level, I would love to see these get released all around the world. But as far as I'm aware, that would come to the actual licensing specifically, because with this one, the films were actually licensed from Toei Animation Europe, and it wasn't a sub-license through Funimation or Madman in that sense. So on this occasion, not that I can speak for any other company, obviously, but I believe it would have to be through Toei Animation to make that possible in another territory.
The last question we have is from Slimestack, who says this year that you guys have been fantastic in bringing the effort with your efforts to bring the One Piece anime over to the UK, even going as far as to releasing movies that Funimation didn't. So he'd like to know if they'd be equally willing to subtitle other One Piece features, namely the episode of Nami, episode of Mary, and so forth. They have the episode of Alabasta and Chopper coming, so it'd be a nice set to have. So he means the TV specials.
Yeah, I'm not too sure where the TV specials stand, actually. It's a very good thought. I can't actually give an answer to that, but I'd like to. I agree, though. Like, having the episode ofs, as I like to phrase it, I think it would be great if they could get released. And one would assume that because they're newer productions, if I phrase it in that manner, that it would mean that there is probably more of a chance of them coming over to the English-speaking territories. I don't actually have anything to report, but I am literally jotting that down on a bit of paper as I speak, so I can actually email Jerome, our director of marketing and acquisitions, just to ask about that.
Great. I mean, that's why it's always worth asking questions for these things. So I need to ask, since you're such a big fan, and for those who don't want to hear spoilers, now it's the time to move on. But what have you been thinking of the recent arc, the recent events in Dressrosa?
It's nuts, for one thing. I just want to say that first and foremost, because it's quite funny, because for quite a while I had to sort of take a break from reading just because there was so much work on, and for like the past month, I think I've read roughly 150 chapters just to catch up.
Jeez.
So I've kind of done a massive binge. I've been using the NOOK app on my iPad to buy the volumes, and I've had the Shonen Jump subscription going for about over a year now. So I've literally just done a massive catch-up, and then before this literally finished the last chapter. But I'm really, really enjoying this arc. When it came to the Fishman Island arc, some people may disagree with me. I didn't take to it too much.
I think we both agree. I think a lot of people agree with you.
There was something about it, and to me, honestly, I couldn't connect with Hody as the villain.
Yeah. Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah, sorry, but with this, it's the intensity of it all. It's how you've got Don Flamingo just appearing at random because he can have a marionette lurking about the place whenever he wants.
That's true.
It's the variety of people who he has with him in his quote unquote family that's just off the wall insane. And I love how they've sort of tied the gap with all of the incidental characters, like the king. You find out he's still alive. And again, spoilers, people, but sorry. And then you kind of find out the link between Rebecca and Kairos, if I've pronounced that name right. And the way it's all tied together, and also the massive reveal of who was portraying Lucy in the final battle was an amazing reveal, while Luffy was off fighting in other places. That was just a tremendous reveal. And what I've really, really liked about this arc is how it's made, after the Fishman Island arc, it's really made everything feel like you're on the edge of your seat. And it's, for every chapter, when it ends and you see that to be continued, it's that moment of you're going, no, I need to know what happens now. And that's what I love when it comes to reading One Piece. It's when I feel like I have to read that next chapter. And waiting for the next one now, I want to know what the heck's going to happen.
It's a good question.
And also the things that they have set up in this arc as well for stuff in the future, like the rest of the crew are currently heading to the next island, which the name escapes me off the top of my head. What's going on with them at the moment? Law has alluded to quite a few things. Don Flamingo's alluded to quite a few things we're still not aware of. You've got loads of the Navy lurking about, whom seemingly are just ridiculously powerful. And they just keep throwing all of these curveballs at you. And also Big Mama's lurking about the place. What the heck's going on with that?
Yeah,
Big Mama's ship appeared, and it's like, what happened after that? It appeared, and nothing's happened. I need to know what's going on.
So you did a 150 chapter binge? How long did that take? Where did you start from when you did that?
Oh, blimey, let's have a think. I can't even think. It might actually be more than that, because I think actually it was probably from just before the time, from just after the time skip.
Oh,
so
wow.
It may actually be more than that. But yeah, I did it. It was over roughly a month and a half, because it sounds weird, but when the time skip happened, and this may just make me sound really weird, but I kind of felt like I wanted a break to make it feel like I had a gap.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea, yeah. I wish we could do that, but we can't.
No, well, hey, you know what? Credit to you guys for doing it every week. It's amazing what you do. But it was one of those things where I thought, okay, you know what? Now's a good time to have a little bit of a break, just to sort of not recharge the batteries, but kind of think in another direction and then come back, and it would feel really fresh. And then when, for example, like Zoro for the first time unleashes a new move of his, and you actually go, whoa, hang on, where did he learn that? And obviously it's surprising when you're reading it anyway, but then when you've not really thought about what Zoro and everyone's moves are for a while, it comes as a bit more of a shock.
Yeah. It's a good point.
And sometimes it's good to have those little gaps. And I mean, I will say that the whole stuff on Punk Hazard as well, I really, really enjoyed. And again, not to harp on the Fishman Island arc a bit, but
go crazy.
But the Punk Hazard arc is exactly the jumpstart it needed after that, because it was a complete dichotomy from everything going on with the two-sided weather island, as I was phrasing it to a friend who was sort of just wanting to know what was going on. I was trying to describe it without spoiling too much. And the mystery and intrigue surrounding the whole island, I love the way that played out. And then obviously now going to Dressrosa, and it's just taking it to a new level, because of the action involved and the wealth of characters. I will say that some of my favourite characters, because some people who probably follow me on Twitter and such know this, I'm a bit of a Japanese wrestling fan, so I love the fact that there was a parody of Terry and Dory Funk in there, and Kelly and Bobby Funk. That was a little wrestling moment for me there. But and also the Colosseum style battle, I love the idea that everyone's fighting for the fruit that Ace had, the fire fruit, because I'm reading the official Viz the official Viz manga. So, admittedly, if I keep pronouncing things wrong, I'm going by what I've read. People.
Well, no, that's what we go through too. So that's.
Oh, there we go. So I'm sure someone will probably hit me up on Twitter and say, "Hey, you said that wrong."
Definitely, because it's Twitter, and there's always going to be someone.
Nah, exactly. That's why I love it. But yeah, I appreciate I've gone on like a giant soliloquy with this, but
it's fine.
I'm loving the current arc. It's exactly what everything needed. I'm glad that Don Flamingo is a massive part of it, because when he first got introduced and you saw this, for all intents and purposes, just feather boa coat, it was like, first of all, I thought, where can I get one of those? I need one. But then next of all, it was just, okay, he's going to have a big part to play. And they've kind of hinted at loads of things about him as well, kind of going back to all the story elements they've thrown in. The fact he was a celestial dragon, and they've really not elaborated on that much more yet.
It's true.
There is tons of stuff that they are just throwing at you in this arc, which is going to come back later and no doubt just kick you in the gut at some point to no end, which you're not going to believe.
Yeah. Well, Jeremy, thanks first off for coming on. So for UK listeners out there, what are the next releases coming out that they could look forward to?
Yeah, definitely. Well, first of all, we've got Collection 7 coming out on the 11th of August, which is the next round of episodes from the TV series. Right now, actually, One Piece Movie Collection 1, which has the first 3 One Piece films in Japanese audio with English subtitles only, are available to add to your collection. That's available now on DVD. Then the next movie collection, which will have films 4 through 6, will be out on the 8th of September. And then before the end of the year, though I can't confirm the dates at the moment because we're still just sort of ironing out the final quarter of the year, if you will, we will have Collection 8 of the TV series and movie Collection 3. And if anything, I think if memory serves, they're probably due for around early November, potentially the same day, which could be quite insane in itself.
Nice. Wow. So you guys have a lot of cool things to look forward to. It's been a real pleasure having you on. It's always really cool to have a real fan in the industry on. Jeremy, thank you so much for coming on.
You got it, guys. Anytime you want me, I am more than happy to come on.
You're welcome anytime you want to come on.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
This is the Toonami Recap for episode 264. Landing operations start. Charge in, Straw Hats. And why don't we start out with trending? Really good week for trending this week, Steve. I think you'll be happy about it.
Mm-hmm.
One Piece came in at number 7, Enies Lobby came in at number 8, and Sniper King came in at number 4. In the mobile trending, Sniper King is the only thing that trended at number 5. Somewhat in part to Mike McFarland for apparently at Who Trended It. I don't know how they determine at one point that happens, but
no idea. Maybe it's like a retweet kind of thing.
I have no idea. Anyway, One Piece at 1:30 a.m. This is the week before the one we're talking about now. Got a 694,000 at 0.5 household rating, which, although is a very steep drop from the raw numbers, is only a 0.1 household rating drop from the 1 a.m. So it dropped like 150,000, but it wasn't a huge drop in the household ratings. And more importantly, it did perfectly fine in the 18 to 49 at 382,000, and as per usual ranks number 1 among adults and men 18 to 24, so that's always good. I think those are the more important numbers. Last year, though, and this is what makes me sad about it, though, is One Piece got over 1 million viewers at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
But so did all of Toonami, did a lot better.
Yeah, I remember that.
That used to happen a lot. It's both on later and overall Toonami's numbers are not as high, but it might just be that less people are watching TV because the household numbers are actually pretty damn similar. They're not that far off. So I don't know. Anyway, we start out with Spandam. Pretty happy that the CP9 is finally arriving, and we have that's the only new stuff before our brand
some slight new animation of Frankie just gawking.
Yeah, I guess I thought that was in the last episode.
No, because then they keep walking.
Oh, yeah.
When they keep walking past that's all new.
Okay, but then we get Brand New World. Start me up.
Damn it! I was gonna say that. Brand New World. Please don't spoil me.
But they still did manage to sneak some in the abridged version.
They just had Gear Second Luffy. And I know someone was just like, yeah, they still doing Gear Second Luffy. And I said, and now we know what the One Piece is. This is sarcasm, folks. But yeah, I was kind of surprised that they.
I had less spoilers than the full
Funimation.
does.
It's Funimation that provides the abridged version of the opening. I'm surprised they just use the the stuff from the first
minute
half. Yeah, from the first half of the opening.
There were some odd choices. I think they could have cut that together better. I think musically it was cut together very well, considering, but I think the visuals were odd.
Yeah,
I
was really surprised that they didn't use the color spreads, the actual opening.
Oh yeah,
the first beats, and then I'm surprised they didn't end it with the showing all the Straw Hats, on top of the
Tower of Justice. Is that what it's called? Yeah.
No, there's the Tower of Law. That's the one there. I don't know.
It gets confusing. They all have the same name.
Building. They're not diverse.
But it was weird. Half of that intro was definitely the boat jumping around. I don't know if you noticed that. I felt like that lasted like a good 20 seconds. Just felt longer. Anyway.
I can't be picky. What, the opening's like not
that's
even
fine.
30 seconds long?
I guess what? You could look it up online and get the full thing. Yeah. Anyway, we start out with...
unless you're an Attack on Titan fan, I guess if you complain enough, you get the full intro.
Well, they were planning on it. I think that was a mess up. Or that people just complain too much. I'm not going to get into an Attack on Titan thing right now. What?
And you shouldn't.
We start out Frankie family outside of Enies Lobby. Sniper King and Sanji have now joined the Frankie family to explain why Big Bro is so awesome. Frankie basically having saved the day. And meanwhile, Rocket Man finds the Yagura Bulls, so they all join. Everyone's together. But first, we head to Enies Lobby, and I have to assume, Steve, this was the highlight for you in this episode.
Yeah, I love this part in the episode. It's the additional CP9 members, the Three Stooges, as kind of the scene was referred to in the commentary.
Yeah, so we had
Spondum, of course. Yeah.
We had Well, yeah, of course. I guess it's the Four Stooges.
We're introduced to Kumadori, the kabuki theater-like guy.
Who's trying to kill himself and fails miserably.
Jabra, the...
angry guy
in kung fu outfit. And then we got...
Fukuro,
yes, that's right.
I'm surprised I remembered all of their names.
The whatever the hell he is. Big fat guy with zipper mouth and high-pitched girly voice.
Isn't it a fat guy in a little coat? Or did I mess that up?
His coat fits him. Yeah, and pretty much... I think this scene is a lot more interesting to me now than it was all those years ago, because they talk about how they were undercover in the Revolutionary Army and they were supposed to assassinate leaders of the Revolutionary Army. Yeah. And they wound up killing 20 members. And I think I tweeted this. I really hope this is called back to later when we get to know more and more about the revolutionaries. Well, there was one time we lost 20 members.
Well, it seems to me that every time the revolutionaries get mentioned up until, well, I won't even say, but up until this point even, it's always in passing. Like during the reverie that from the one that Vivi was a kid during and Wapol was there, that one during Drum Island, they're mentioned in passing. And several other times up until this point. So, I hope we see more of that. I mean, that actually still holds true today. Anyway, so do we have to go through the whole conversation they all were having? My favorite part was, besides Spandam spilling coffee all over himself, is that he's like, "Oh, and I heard that Nero didn't work out. Whatever."
Wait, who was that?
Spandam?
No, who is he talking about?
Nero.
Oh, you mean Nero the Sea Weasel?
Oh, God.
I didn't even have to bring it up. You set it up for me, Zach. Thank you.
But it was a funny line.
I didn't have to bring up the mention of a worthless character.
Well, don't worry, he will never come up again. I think that is his last
unless we get a cover story.
Well, no, we won't. And even if we do, it won't be
Adventures of Nero the Sea Weasel. If anything, Nero's still on the train.
No, he got thrown into the water. Didn't
he did get thrown into the water.
He's dead. He is very dead. He's as dead as T-Bone isn't.
He can swim, I guess. He's not a double fruit. He needs the weasel fruit.
Anyway, back aboard the Rocket Man.
We talk about Nero for about 5 minutes.
Sniper King. The song happens again because
I call it Sniper King music video version 2.
I actually really like this version. It's mostly Usopp being really scared of everything happening to him.
It's a lot sillier.
Yeah. And in this version, he takes aim at Hattori instead of the mouse. He did the mouse.
Well, no, Tyrannosaurus and Hattori.
Yeah,
because he's evil.
Well, Hattori is evil.
That's foreshadowing. That's the fight that Usopp's going to have in Enies Lobby versus Hattori.
The pigeon versus Usopp.
No, the pigeon versus the chicken.
And
Sunday. Sorry.
Luffy and Chopper's reaction, I think, really make this repeat pay off here. And the line, I think Luffy said, well, Chopper's like, is he a superhero? It's like, of course, everyone with a cape and a mask is a superhero. And then everyone else knows it's Usopp, including Chimney and Jonbei.
Anyone, Jinbei. I almost said Jinbei.
It is Gonbei. Okay. I wrote Dog Rabbit.
Close. I think he was referred to as a cat.
Yeah, I think he is a cat. I don't know why I wrote
Rabbit. Dog. That's referred to as a cat.
And one of the more famous lines here. So where is Sniper Heart, Steve? Damn it.
Sniper Heart. It's in your island.
Wow.
But Sniper Island is in your heart.
That's good to know. We come back from a commercial break. Well, I like Nami ending it like as we go to commercial, but seriously, where is it? We come back and Sanji fills everyone in, kind of kills the mood. Everyone was like, "Ooh, it's a Sniper King," and now
they're about to fight the government, so they can't go in there doing a Disney sing-along.
So he's basically like, CP9 is just using her childhood fears against her. And Luffy's like, I'm ready to go. There's a new move I want to try. Ooh, could it be that one from the opening?
God, now it's ruined. Now I'm expecting it.
Yeah, and so then Paulie is basically like, look, I'm going to draw you guys a map and tell you all about it.
He drew it a long time ago when they're installing the rail system when they were doing maintenance work for the sea train at Enies Lobby.
And do you want to describe a little bit about what's on the map?
Well, there's a gate up front. That's the main gate. Then there's a whole bunch of barracks in the middle, and that leads to another gate. And then that gate is a drawbridge gate that leads to the Tower of Law. And behind that is an even bigger gate, the Gates of Justice, which I could only assume are imported from Elbaf.
They're huge. Well, look, compared to a giant, those things are like a million giants. I don't know how those are so massive.
I just don't get how they're there.
I don't understand how that works. We understand one goes to Impel Down, one goes to Marine HQ, and one goes to...
I think this is explained a little bit. I don't know if this was explained before, really, till after, but it kind of just opens up, and then there's just...
Well, I mean, I understand how it works. I don't understand why it exists, which maybe we'll get that at some point.
I think it kind of blocks off the current from going into Enies Lobby.
Okay, so afterwards, Usopp and Nami try and sneak in with the Frankie family, who are like, we'll go in, we'll deal with that. Anyway, so yeah, they're supposed to go in first, and then Luffy's supposed to go in the big shots.
You got it, right? You got that?
Got it, Luffy? And he's like, yes, got it. And Luffy's like, don't got it. Going over there now.
He don't got it.
And he don't got it, even though Zora's like, he said he got it. And Sodom and Gomorrah try and break the gate right behind him. I really love the scene of Luffy entering Enies Lobby here. Like, he actually is kind of stealthily doing it for like a split second there. Like, oh, what was that?
Well, he got caught from the beginning.
He got caught very quick.
Yeah.
But for those 4 seconds, he kind of was... Okay. Anyway, Spandam gets a call that there is one intruder. And the front gate's like, don't worry, we'll take care of him.
He treats it like it's just like a runner at a baseball game. Like, oh, just get rid of him.
That was a pretty boring conversation anyway. And Spandam puts the phone down, and Straw Hat Luffy just busts his way through, and we see Robin pacing to the tower, and we have that new ending with the drawings, and that's it. What did you think of this episode?
Punches the camera.
I do like that part. I forgot.
No, it's awesome because it sets up the
slow pacing that's to come.
No, I ironically was going to say it sets up the pace for the what you're going to see in Enies Lobby, and then I realized, and I'm not referring to the slow half chapter per episode pace. I just mean like it's give you a lot more action packed melee.
That it is. Yes.
Yes, and it's going to include a lot of drama, but now it's kind of more like, all right, now it's just going to be crazy. It's just going to be a lot of action now. So, we dealt with a lot of drama and a lot of mystery in the Water 7 portion of this arc, and now we're just getting into the frenzy.
Cool. All right, so let's get into the next segment. Steve, you ready?
Sure.
Today's episode of the unofficial One Piece podcast is sponsored by Kolektakon, your source for One Piece Mega House merchandise. I believe that is what they're the source for, right, Steve?
Yes, the source for the best deals on One Piece Mega House figures.
Up for pre-order, Bellamy, Law, Robin, Sad Child version. Mihawk.
Well, she's happy in that thumbnail.
Yeah, that's, well, not really happy. She's just putting on a smile, putting on a happy face. Bartolomeo, Momonosuke, or Big Momonosuke's house, however you want to pronounce it. I prefer the latter.
The right way.
We also have Soldier and Rebecca. We've also been posting some cool photos that Kolektakon has been posting on their Tumblr, which you could check out at blog.kolektakon.com. Yeah. Cool.
Exactly.
Cool stuff. Very
cool. All right. at Kolektakon.
They also have some pictures on the blog of the Sugar figure coming up, a very risque Nami, an Ace because you don't have enough of him yet, Violet, which is actually a really cool figure that's coming out. We went through some of these in our Pieces of 8 a little while back, and a lot more, so check that blog out and check their site out. Yeah, Steve, anything in particular you're excited for or something?
Soldier and Rebecca. Those are ones that I've been eyeballing.
Or you just gotta wait a little longer.
Okay.
Let's get back into the podcast, Steve.
Okay.
This is the manga recap for chapter 754, Making Acquaintance. Steve, what is going on this front page here?
I don't know. Well, it is the solitary journey of Jinbei, first son of the sea,
So
volume
solitary.
4. Yeah, I think. Is this the first time we're seeing this title? I didn't pay attention to it last week.
That was it's been there.
And it is titled, and I'll read it in the two different voices we gave for Officer Barkley. The first one would be, well, good thing the sea kitten happens to live in my town. That sounded really creepy. The sea kitten happens to live in my town. And then our Charles Barkley voice, well, good thing this sea kitten happens to live in my town.
And Uriah Brown thought he looked like, from the Shonen Jump podcast, thought he looked like a village, from the Village People. So you could do that voice, too.
What is that voice?
The cop from the Village People? I don't know.
Hello!
We are going to get complaints. Boom.
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 Yummy. I should mention this cover story is so adorable. It's so sweet. I think I'm getting a cavity just looking at it.
Yeah.
Little cat cappity.
Yes, but the cat looks so cute because it's getting over it's in post crying where it still has a tear, but now it's so happy and it's holding
Look
on.
how happy Jinbei is.
Jinbei,
That's the shocking part of this.
That is
Let's
like
be
the
honest.
Grinch smile. It is like just it has just overtaken his entire face and cheekbones.
Where the side of his lips curl up into little spirals.
It's adorable though, and I don't know, very minor, but I kind of like how the dogfish, he's not completely in the picture, like he's cut off. I kind of like it. Kind of gets a sense of movement. Yeah. It's very cute. Very cute.
Notice the officer has this situation under control. He knows he's the officer. He's got the authority. He knows where this kitten lives, and yet Jinbei is still like, oh, I'll just join you. I want to see where this goes.
Jesus. Good point. Good point.
Jinbei, you could leave now. You could join the main story. Yeah. No, I want to see where this goes. Could be funny. I totally forgot about that. I was suckered in. Clearly, I am still in the Matrix, and Steven is out saying, "No, everything you know is a lie. You're just being suckered into another cover story where it's going to go nowhere."
Well, the thing is with these kind of cover stories is they start out going nowhere, and then something happens. Even Caribou is a very good example of that. Although I think with Caribou we thought it had more potential, even, but
it went nowhere.
That it actually did go nowhere. There are other examples. Gadatsu's, you're right, went from somewhere to nowhere.
I think was going to go somewhere.
I really like Gadatsu's, though. I actually really like Gadatsu's story. It's an underrated one, I think. Anyway, we could talk about this all day.
Nobody rates it.
No one does. That's why it's underrated.
I bet a lot of people have forgotten that there was a Gadatsu cover story.
I forgot until we started talking about it. Steve, you want to start the chapter?
Sure.
We always talk about the cover page more.
I'm glad we put in that kind of effort.
That's what it is, effort.
We might go back years from now. It's like, oh my god, the One Piece was foreshadowed right here in this cover story.
It was Officer Barkley the entire time.
Officer Barkley's badge.
Well, look, we know it's not happiness or something like that, so it could be his badge.
Or the friends you've made. Yes, it's Officer Barkley's mustache.
Oh, it's the mustache. Okay, that makes more sense, actually.
Is the final ancient weapon.
Okay, you could. Sorry for interrupting and making that tangent.
Yeah. So even talking about the cover story even longer. But below the former Royal Plateau, even below, way below the ports and the officers' tower, we're in the scrap heap with Team Kinemon, who I think is just Kinemon.
Usually it's just
pretty
Kinemon.
much.
Yeah.
He's a one-man team, and he's just a blubbering mess. He's like, "Oh, how I've missed you dearly. I'm so glad to see you well." Pretty sure he's talking about Damask. I'm so happy to see him back too. Him and the Mummy and
all of our favorites.
Fighting Lion.
He's the worst. He was the worst of them. I was watching the anime finally from last week. What a terrible character. Because we already have a fantastic lion in
Zach,
this story.
stop acting, because you can't.
I'm not acting. I'm serious.
I am really angry.
I am legitimate.
And of course, he yells out the name of the character we all knew he was talking to. It's Kanjuro. And we hear him say, "Oh, good for you to come back for me, Kinemon." And he says, "Forgive me for making, the search a little bit difficult." And one of these guys he's tilting his head like a cat. He's like, "Someone just popped out the wall." And Kanjuro,
I have a feeling like Stephen did not imagine that voice like that.
No, I didn't.
Kanjuro continues, "I was hiding in the walls, but it got a little bit boring and I took a nap." And Kinemon said, it says, well, it's still crying. It says, like, "It took me so long to reach you. You don't realize how many chapters it's been." And right off the bat,
at this point,
we get a close-up of Kanjuro's face in the... would it be geisha makeup, or is it something else for guys?
No, I think this is more like a kabuki or a no kind of thing.
Kabuki? Okay. I don't know whether the photo is kabuki or geisha or what.
Geishas aren't the... Okay, I'm not getting
They're females. Yeah, that's why I didn't want to say geisha.
Well, no, it also looks a lot... Anyway,
thanks for listening, Zach.
Oh, yeah.
And someone's going to chime in, "Oh, it's the ancient Japanese." I'm like, I don't know that because I'm not Japanese. I'm sorry.
You're not?
No.
Why is your last name Yurko?
Can you stop dragging things out? For the love of God, you always complain. We talk about this way too long.
Go on.
And we have our own segment dedicated to my last name and where it comes from. But right off the bat, we get a laugh from Kanjuro. Ka.
Yeah.
Can't wait for the anime to clarify how that's going to come out.
Well, Stephen, can you do it? What do you think it sounds like?
So this kind of laugh I have seen used before, and it seems to me very fitting for this character because it's usually something that I see. Like I want to say that I've seen it associated with kind of like a daimyo or a lord sort of character who is very sort of I don't know if arrogant is the right word, but he's sort of looking down on the other people, and he's very confident and very sort of haughty, and he's like, so.
This, by the way, was a classic Oda twist for me, where I was expecting the typical samurai badass to come walking in, and then here's this guy.
Yeah, we forget sometimes that we're reading One Piece.
Yeah, were you guys also kind of thinking that? Or is that just my stupidity?
I was thinking he was going to look a lot more like Kinemon. And I think Greg was talking about, or maybe it was Steven talking about, how the art was slightly altered in one panel showing a silhouette. And I think it was changed from something to a ponytail, or a ponytail to something different.
Yeah.
I forget.
They thought he was wearing one of those like cask helmets or something.
Yeah, the woven basket sort of thing.
Clearly not the case.
Nope. his hair shape clearly covers that already.
Yep.
And he says, "Well, hey, with my sorcery, I'll never lack for food." And I love the trend of the dudes from Wano referring to devil fruits as sorcery and magic. It's really cool. I love. There doesn't seem to be enough different perspectives on devil fruits, so I like this.
I think that's the first time I put 2 and 2 together there.
But he said, not that I would ever be hungry, of course. I guess that's the way of the samurai. You get hungry. And then we get, we don't get an Oda box. We get an Oda scroll.
Nice.
I love this. Like I was saying, I like how the Wano guys have a different perspective, and I like how they have different Oda boxes.
They're so different.
But Samurai of Wano, evening shower, Kanjuro. Evening shower.
It sounds a little...
He doesn't take his showers in the evening, if that's what you wondered.
That's what I was thinking.
Well, he's not called Golden Shower Conjurer.
Okay.
God.
So keep your giggles.
I saw that joke coming from a mile away, Steve. Just was hoping no one would make it.
And he says, like, oh, it's like, and I assume Momonosuke is safe as well. And Kinemon gets pretty close to his face and saying, like, yes, he is unharmed. All thanks to you. I guess he's referring back to when they first escaped Dressrosa. And
I love how Kinemon is the straight guy in this group. Like he's yeah.
And Kanjuro, as he chomps down on lettuce, he says with a different type of font, says, "Want some lettuce?" And I'm not sure how we're supposed to read this, Stephen, because it's a different kind of font. I'm just looking far too into it.
More flowery or lettucey.
Well, it's actually the same one that's up at the top of in the top panel as well, but he doesn't. Right. I think there are some cases where the letter actually does her own fonts for things just based on the situation, even if it's not necessarily a different font. I'd have to look at the
I forget you don't necessarily.
Oh yeah, I forgot you
don't handle the lettering. You just what the lettering says.
You just do the translations.
But Kinemon says, "No, your food gives me a bellyache."
I wonder why that would be.
Your food gives me a tummy ache. I mean stomach. Simpsons. Very obscure Simpsons.
Yeah, quote. I don't even...
Yeah.
Steven, continue.
So they continue. Kanjuro is like, yes, well, we're together now. Let us be off. Something is happening above. And Kinemon tells him, oh, yes, it is a very long tale. I have so many things to tell you. Not now. Just wait for the anime. I will explain every single detail again.
And it will take me twice as long.
The joke got better as Stephen was saying it.
And all the onlookers, they're like, clearly they have nothing else to entertain them, so they're just watching this entire scene play out, and they're like,
it is bizarre.
Why are these guys talking like they're just going to pop right out of this place? I mean, it's 100 feet deep here. What are we doing? And Kanjuro takes his brush and he starts to draw like a 5-year-old with markers on the wall.
Better than me. Not better than Steve.
Yeah, well, better than me too. And he's drawing what looks like a bird with a beady eye and a open-mouthed grimace of horrible pain. And the guys are like, "What is he doing? He's painting." And Kanjuro holds up the ancient Japanese sign of magic with his fingers and goes,
"That's
Come
what
forth.
That's called."
Yeah. And all of a sudden, the bird starts to pop out of the wall. And now everybody's like, oh, so he has powers. This painting has come to life.
He has Doodle Bob powers.
Powers? I have them.
For you older gentlemen, please excuse me for a second. That is a reference to an episode of SpongeBob.
Oh, yeah, SpongeBob.
Kanjuro has the power of the magic pencil to make make really crude drawings creepily come to life and be very creepy.
Damn it, I know this reference. I thought I was an old person.
Good.
No.
And we see he gives the name. It is the Spring Sparrow, and this is in the original Japanese. This is called Nukesuzume, where Suzume is a sparrow, and nuke or nukeru is the verb to kind of to exit or to slip out of or to leave. And in fact, I think. My suspicion is that it's going to turn out that he has the nuke fruit. That's just a wild guess on my part. But that means basically, the sparrow is slipping out of the wall or is popping out of the wall. So in my case, I went with spring because not only is he springing out of the wall, he is also going to spring them out of their prison that they're in. So there's actually this. This term is also the title of a rakugo story, which is it's a traditional kind of Japanese storytelling. It's often comical, but not always. But it's sort of like it's a cross between storytelling and like a comedian. There's one guy, he does, he'll tell a story and he'll play all the different characters himself, and it's a very kind of a refined and old-fashioned-y thing to do, although I think it's gotten more popular recently. It's had a bit of a resurgence, and I actually found the story that it was based on, and I don't want to derail the manga recap, so I'll save it for later.
First off, it's impossible to derail the manga recap. We've
has.
all tried, and it doesn't work.
It started off the rails, and it hasn't gotten back on.
Do you guys want to talk more about the police officer guy from the beginning?
No, let's not.
No, I want to talk more about this guy with the glasses.
Yeah. So yes, the bird is out, and if you notice, actually throughout this entire page, when he's flapping, the sound effects are like asymmetrical. It's like flap a flap, flap a flap, flap a flap, which I like to imagine that's because the bird is like not drawn evenly, and one of his wings is larger than the other or something. So, anyways, the onlookers are shocked at this. This bit of magic here, and they're also very disappointed at his art skill. And in fact, they're like, "Man, it's just such a shame, the ability. It's genius. It's just awesome, but this sparrow can barely even fly because it's drawn so badly." And meanwhile, Kanjuro is jumping right on the back of this poor thing, and the sparrow, if you look closely, he's like, he can't even chirp, and they're about to leave, and everyone else down there is like, "Excuse me, what about us? Are you gonna help us? What's going on?"
We're pretty important.
Yeah. We're former royal soldiers and civilians who had been turned into toys until just now. Can you throw us a bone here? What's going on? Is King Riku well? Our families are up in town. Please, you got to get us out of here. We turn the page, Zach.
Yeah.
Before we go any further, I just want to mention just how awesome Kanjuro's Devil Fruit is.
Yeah.
One thing I really like is just some of the cool effects that are done with these pages. When the sparrow first emerges from the wall, fully the sound effect, the bam sound effect, it has a brushy texture to it, and I really like the brushy texture used to like fill in the quote blacks on the sparrow. I can only assume this is done digitally, like digital gray tone, maybe not. But it looks really cool, and it really comes off like a drawing in the One Piece world, and not just less than stellar character design in the One Piece manga. It's convincing. Right. I'm convinced that this is a drawing come to life. I freaking love this. This is so cool, and like I said, it really does make me think of the Doodle Bob episode of SpongeBob. So hilarity is guaranteed.
It's also go ahead, Stephen.
No, I was just agreeing.
It's also pretty hilarious that both Kanjuro and Kinemon both have the Deus Ex Machina fruits. Like, basically, I'll get us out of this situation, which Kinemon did back in Punk Hazard Now you will have clothes. And so on and so on.
I like, yeah, that is kind of true. I wouldn't chalk that up with lazy writing.
No, I'm not saying
it's not like the fact that the Straw Hats had coats on Punk Hazard is what beat Caesar Clown.
You don't know that.
Coats. Why me? Just melts for some reason.
You haven't used that voice in forever.
I haven't, yeah,
because he hasn't been around.
Because freaking Frieza is a million times better voice actor than me.
No. What?
Oh, thank you.
But the lines, let me just be honest, though, the writing you've been given during your filler scenes are a little bit better than his from last week, which is just him yelling and thinking that his heart was taken when it wasn't. Anyway, to the new Royal Plateau, the second step, we get a little drawing there with Mini Everyone. I think we've seen all these guys already. So we head to the fight where they are trying to stop the Straw Hats getting to the next step. As Joey Weiser pointed out on Twitter, it's been a little bit easier this week to figure out what exactly Cavendish is doing, although it's still somewhat difficult. Anyway, we have this is Blue Gilly kicking the hell out of random schmucks, I believe is the term that we're using.
One of them looks like the dude from Dragon's Lair.
I don't know what that is.
He also sort of looks like a leg version of that guy Goro from Mortal Kombat. Like he looks like he just has like 6 legs right now.
It looks really uncomfortable.
It looks pretty disgusting and weird and odd and uncomfortable all at the same time.
But it's just an effect.
Steve, I have to let you take this next part a little bit. I'm sorry, I can't do this part.
I can't imagine why.
I don't either.
What's very interesting about these first few panels is there's no sound effects. It's
that's true. Yeah,
completely silent as Dellinger does like his really looks like a very fast paced moonwalk or skywalk or DBZ moving fast technique.
I didn't notice neither of these guys are really wearing much pants. It's the only way to put it. Not much pants happening.
Hey, Dellinger's actually dressed more proper than Blue Gilly. Yeah.
I think Blue Gilly's shirt.
Blue Gilly makes Dellinger seem a lot more proper right now.
Yeah, come on. Put some pants on.
Put some pants.
Man pants.
Put some long pants on those long legs of yours, Mr. Long Leg Tribe man. You. So Dellinger moves really fast.
Why did I let you do this?
And gets right behind Blue Gilly as Blue Gilly turns with and with a guillotine high heel, he kicks him just dead in the throat, and that has to hurt. I'd say it might hurt a lot more than getting kicked in the head, only because that probably takes the breath out of you. And it crunches too. That I wouldn't say.
I haven't seen that sound effect for a kick in a while.
Gilly has a broken neck here, but that is vicious. And I didn't.
What do you think is going on with his back there?
I didn't even realize this till I saw that our fans started pointing this out. It looks like Dellinger has some sort of fin on his back.
And we have discussed in the past.
There is a sound effect protruding from that fin.
That's true.
So I'm guessing it's coming from his skin and just out.
It's not an accidental drawing. Mm-hmm. If you can find who that fan is, Steve. But
it's on Piece the Tweet.
We'll go through it again and we'll just give props on Piece Together. But I do want to say, we have talked about how Dellinger has some connection with the Fighting Fish because he has his hat with the logo with the Fighting Fish logo. So maybe that's what he is in some way, like a devil fruit or something.
That would be crazy specific. If he was
specific zone fruit.
If he ate a Fighting Fish Zoan devil fruit, because Fighting Fish, of course, are Oda original animals. I mean, there are fish that do get pissed off at each other and fight each other.
But that's true. We don't see a lot of Oda original animal devil fruits or Oda original anything devil fruits, which is why not?
And this could be this is the first devil fruit. If this is a devil fruit and this is a Zoan, this would be the first Zoan devil fruit that's
a fake
that's an animal. No, not just that. An animal that lives in water.
Oh. Oh, if that's true. I mean, at the very least, I think our fan said it could be a shark, but still you have the same
shark too.
principle.
But then again, that's also, that's an animal that,
how does that work?
Lives in the water, very interesting. My boy Dellinger might be a devil fruit user.
Your boy Dellinger may be a more interesting character than
my boy Dellinger might not even be a boy, but that's okay.
Yeah, we forgot about that part too. Anyway, I'll finish up the page.
Yeah, Luffy.
Yeah, okay, fine. Yeah,
the long legs down. That's all I want to say.
Fine, just get it to the next page.
No, you can read this.
Oh, I mean, this was my page, and I gave it to you, and
you made a foolish mistake.
I made a foolish mistake. Do you want to continue on your page?
Sure. Yeah. As Cavendish basically says, don't care about. It's like stop caring about lower tier characters. Straw Hat.
Don't care. Battle of Gods is what he's saying. No? Is that joke not applicable there? Okay,
you just didn't apply it well enough.
Okay. I'll try better next time. I'll run it by you, and then I'll see if it works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'll
send it in for approval.
Yeah. I know it takes 2 to 3 weeks, though.
And Cavendish is very smart because he says, this whole birdcage game is complete BS. Even if all of us are captured, all the convicts are captured, it doesn't mean that Doflamingo is going to let them live. The cat's out of the bag now. The arms smuggling and the secret of the toys has been exposed. Everyone is a witness on this island, so they're all going to be killed because this information's too important. It would ruin Doflamingo and his status. So. Dressrosa, he goes on to say, Dressrosa is isolated, cut off from the rest of the world. No one's going to know, even though I feel like someone would know eventually.
Yeah, it's going to. Unless
you're someone like Obi-Wan who finds out immediately.
I get it. I know who Obi-Wan is.
Good. We don't have to spend 10 minutes talking about that.
Not today. Keep going.
He says, praying for a miracle and waiting, till the end will only bring death to us all. I'm surprised Cavendish is saying this. Like Luffy was thinking for a second, maybe we should wait. Maybe Dofi will get tired.
Luffy, he just wants to wait.
Like little kids that are playing all day in the afternoon, and one kid's like, "Hey, can we call the game? I'm just pooped. I gotta go home. Mom's cooking dinner." Like that's not gonna happen here.
Especially with Luffy. Luffy is not that kid.
Cavendish goes on and says, there's no way of getting off this island. The only way is to keep going forward and defeat Doflamingo. And we see Mock Vice shoulder tackling Boo into rubble, and Law listens on. Doesn't say a thing, but
that's been Law's tagline recently. Yeah,
nothing, but the look on his face, he can't help but agree.
That look on his face, that's like oh God, the blood, it's rushing to my head. I can't think.
Oh yeah, that's right. I've been shot.
If we did a Law dedicated episode of the One Piece podcast, it would be titled just with ellipses. That would be nice.
It. Doflamingo has always stayed a step ahead of the rest, just barely, I'd say. As this dialogue goes over some of the combatants fighting some of the officers, like we see Hideo about to square off with Dellinger with Finn. Cool looking panel here. They said if you made one mistake, it was soliciting and gathering. I'm just gonna keep reading the dialogue and go back and talk about the panels. This assortment of powerful, belligerent miscreants. Nice SAT words there, Stephen.
It's Cavendish.
For the Colosseum, we will not, it's like, we won't be taken down. And he's true, yeah. If it really wasn't for him doing the stupid Colosseum thing, Luffy would be at a huge disadvantage here, as we see characters like Sai taking on Baby Five, who's got her revolver leg going on. We see Mock Vice, who's just taken down Boo, about to square off with Haruden. We see Ozabeo, of course, and most importantly, as we see Orlumbus and Don Chinjao. most importantly of all, out of all the smart things, I have finally said, I'll be the one to take down Doflamingo, and he ruins it. I guess this page is one big gag. Like, wow, Cavendish has become selfless. He's finally making a good point. And no, he's not.
I also think Doflamingo made more than one mistake in the Coliseum.
Yeah, a few.
Yeah, just you want to. We've only been pointing them out every week.
Yeah,
we've only been pointing them out every week. But if you don't want to pay attention to the podcast, that's fine. Oda, you can.
No, it's really Cavendish's fault for not listening to the podcast every week. While he's been slowly ascending this mountain, you always put your iPod on and you listen to some One Piece podcast. It'll make time go a lot quicker while you're beating up a bunch of random people. Anyway.
That's totally what Law's thinking. He's like, man, this is so boring. I just wish I had a podcast to listen to.
What about how awesome I am?
Yeah. And after that entire speech, Luffy is furious. He's like, what? I already told you he's mine. Law pipes up, no, he's mine. Kuros wants in on the action as well. And that pisses off Luffy as well, because he's like, hey, that's not, you just said you just said you had to get dibs on the other guy. What are you doing? You can't get two. And Kuros is like, no, that is personal. This is business. He's he's got to return the kingdom to King Riku. And that means bringing about an end to the tragedy of 10 years ago. And then we just get this competition here where Law is like, 10? No, how about 13 years? Mine 13 is larger than 10. And Luffy's like, well, okay, 30. Like it's, like it's The Price is Right or something. And Cavendish is like, oh, shut up. You are not older than me.
Continue.
Were you going to say? Oh, okay.
No.
Yeah. No. I love that the kind of one of the subtler and less common Luffy gags where he just increases the numbers of something when he's arguing with someone. Like he calls Zoro like 4 swords, and then back in Alabasta when Crocodile he's like, oh, you're the 7 warlords. Well, I'm the 8 warlords. So
I forgot about that. I forgot that was a running gag.
Yeah. I
mean, that and Mystery Blank. We haven't heard that one in a while either.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Well, it's nice to see that coming back.
Mm-hmm. So basically, they're running up the little path that Cavendish is like carving in real time out of the side of the wall, and I'm imagining them just having like a backseat slap fight here, just like, yeah, stop it, you get
like
off, you get off.
Three Stooges kind of moment.
Yeah. They're about to reach the 3rd step, and just as they get up there, Farul, Cavendish's horse, comes to a stop. He's looking pretty tired. In fact, he's panting, and Luffy looks up, and through the mist, there's just a whole bunch of giant, like, nutcracker skeleton doll things. Really creepy looking. Yeah.
What the hell are these?
Yeah, what do you guys think?
Well, first off, I thought this was an amazing panel, just by how out of left field this is. I feel like it's been a really long time, even in this arc, since we got like, what the fuck is this? Like, we haven't gotten that in a while, and not just like, oh, it's that character. So it's really cool to see something weird and kind of semi-hilarious looking at the same time. I assume these are being controlled by Doflamingo or some sort of aspect of his power, since we have the word puppets, marionettes, it comes to mind. I don't know what you guys think. And also toys have been kind of at the center of this arc, so it's kind of nice to see that come around. It
does seem, definitely the first guess would be that it's Doflamingo himself, this is some trap or some, group of guardians that he has set up. But then, after we picked up on that shark fin thing with Dellinger, now I'm just like second guessing. I'm like, oh, which of his officers do we not, know everything about? Like, could this be someone else's, powers or ability or something?
I really hope so. I really hope it's not just freaking Doflamingo. It's like, oh yeah, strings, puppets. I have giant nutcrackers. You know, it's like, ugh.
But Doflamingo's kind of everywhere.
That's like, it just reminds me of the line in Venture Brothers. It's like, you're the monarch, right? Yeah. It's like, so why don't, it's like, so why the giant cocoon? No, it's like, why the giant cocoon? Because I'm the monarch. It's like, why don't you just fly around in a giant butterfly? I just really hope, like, just because Doflamingo isn't the puppeteer, he doesn't just like, oh, and nutcrackers. It's like corny Adam West Batman villain. You know?
Who else could it really be, though?
It's like freaking. It's like in Batman, the Batman movie with Adam West, like Penguin. You know, Penguin gets all the villains like, oh, let's fly there, and they fly on giant umbrellas. Like,
maybe I like these designs because they kind of remind me of something almost out of like Batman the Animated Series, like something the Joker would have in that. Just like that very creepy, eerie, but you know, trying to put a humorous tint on it as well.
No, it's not Sugar.
Well, she is unconscious, and we have to assume she's remaining unconscious for the foreseeable future. Because, God, that face. Usopp's face. I guess we could continue. We go to Zoro versus Pika on top of the Pika statue. So you'd think Pika would have the upper hand, but it doesn't look like that's the case. He's breathing pretty heavily there. And Zoro's like, is this the best you could do? You know, you thought you could take down Luffy like this? Really? Come on. That kind of egging on does not help. Pika is very susceptible to egging on. He's kind of like the Marty McFly / Ace of this arc. Can't forget we made that comparison to Ace because that's what he did. Anyway, Zoro cuts up his arm when it turns into stone in kind of like pasta-like fashion. And Pika realizes he's in trouble and turns himself into stone when Zoro goes to cut him. Oh, that was an easy page. Steve.
Yeah, well, that was an awesome page. Just
Thank you. No, it was.
Panel. Yeah.
The top panel is cool. I really like the swish panel at the bottom with the speed lines with Zoro. Really cool. And again, I like Pika's like funk freed like attack of just his arm stretching out with a sword at the end of it.
Yeah, you're right. Why the sword? All right, I guess this is technically a sword fight. Go on.
And then Pika channels his inner Alex Mack, or let me think of something a little more current, or something people would know.
I get it. The secret world of
his inner Venom or Carnage or any other goop monster with all these different spiky ends or T-1000. There we go. Channeling his inner T-1000 as he just goes to stab Zoro at multiple ends. His attack is called Pulpo Stone, Stephen.
And if you don't recognize that word, you may recognize the synonym Los Octopodos. That is, pulpos is octopi in Spanish.
Cool.
Because you can see he's kind of doing the tentacle thing.
And he's about to unleash what he hopes is the death blow or the fatal blow to Zoro. And Zoro, he can't be distracted by that because he sees people flying in the distance. That really shows you where Zoro's concerns are right now.
I don't think he's that concerned about him for whatever reason.
Yeah, I want to imagine he's just like, hey, that cloud kind of looks like a kitty. And Zoro just yells out, how are you guys flying?
I do like that out of nowhere. That's what he yells.
Concern.
Yeah.
And as we see the after effects of that attack coming down, we see it crash.
You see him jump up.
Bartolomeo is just at a loss for words. It's Mr. Zoro.
When did he become Jimmy?
Do you remember about my automograph?
Automograph.
Trampoline.
Automograph.
Two very well placed Simpsons references. Kudos.
Please tell me that's an actual Simpsons reference that you snuck in there.
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Yes.
And Pika.
No, he's obviously, of course, he's referring to when they were at the Coliseum, and Zoro was like, "I'll give you an autograph, whatever." Just
I don't even remember that bit of dialogue.
Sent the message, yeah.
But Pika catches Rebecca because he says Rebecca, or I'm sorry, that's not his voice. Rebecca.
Whoa, that was a oddly creepy version of that.
He's a villain, so.
I'm glad the font.
Miko's like, hi everybody.
I like whoever chose that font did a very good job there. It's that looks like the 15-year-old girl or 12-year-old girl wrote that.
It's very non-threatening.
Yeah. Awesome if if he said words with like I or J in them, like lowercase I's and J's, and instead of just dotting the top of them,
there were hearts.
There's hearts and circles. Maybe like a lemonade stand, some letters are like backwards.
So if you're very close to the typesetter, Stephen, what we're telling you to tell her is if you see I's or J's to put hearts on them.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Becca is, oh no, it's Pika, the supreme officer. And Robin yells out, Zoro, keep the enemy occupied because we have to get over him so we could get to the field. And for some reason, I'm kind of still like getting used to Robin referring to everyone by their names. And with a shroop, Pika sinks back into the rock, and Zoro, of course, his attention is still towards. But how are you flying? Freaking Zoro.
It's a good gag. It's a good gag.
Cocky. And Bartolomeo, of course, has to care for him. He says, like, the enemy ran away. No, he didn't. He sprouts up again, I assume where the head used to be. I think that's what.
Yeah, I think so.
And
that's where you could see the ellipses coming out of it.
And someone goes, eek. I'm pretty certain it's not Dellinger. The statue's moving. And Bartolomeo kind of reveals something interesting here. He says, "Oh crap, my barrier ain't big enough to stop that. We're totally gonna get destroyed." There's limits to Bartolomeo's power.
Yeah,
I don't think has really been discussed.
It's a good thing to know because I distinctly remember, when he was in the Coliseum, it was like, okay, well, so how do you, he's invincible. How do you stop him? And apparently, it only covers so much.
I wouldn't be surprised if it just covers his, just the height and the width of his body.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure in the past he's protected other characters, but maybe just because that fist is so huge, it's just he can't make a barrier that big. And Zoro said he's, it's like with the little flash of light next to his eye, he now pays attention to Pika saying, "Oh, he's back in," and he gets ready for an attack. The classic putting the Wado Ichimonji in his mouth, says three sword style, as the fist draws near, and I can only assume that's Bartolomeo who's screaming.
And Zoro unleashes the 1,080-pound Phoenix directly into Pika, just cuts him basically from like the back of his neck down through through what would be the breastbone, the rib cage. Very, very devastating. Although I have to say, because it's so long distance, not that it doesn't seem impressive, but it seems like a lot of Zoro's attacks now, especially, are there's some visual aspect to them, like they look like something. This just looks like a big giant slash, just straight through him.
Yeah, and this kind of goes hand in hand with like the first big Pika panel we had with him coming out of the mountain. It's like very similar to it. And
yeah.
Like, oh, remember when Pika first showed up and this seemed like a big deal? Well, Zoro doesn't care.
Yes, indeed. He got Pika pretty good. He's coughing up blood there, wherever
that sound. Or oh no.
Yes, and the entire kingdom, one can assume, is shocked. That's just everyone is blown away by what just happened. Zoro's just got the hang of something, I guess his new move.
He's learning how to cut stone.
He says, and he has to finish off with a nice speech here. He's like, "Oh yeah, I forgot to say one thing. There's more to the Straw Hat crew than Luffy and God Usopp. Don't forget this. One day, I will be the greatest swordsman in the entire world. I'm on an entirely different level than you." He basically just teabagged Pika, just totally owned him, and Bartolomeo is like,
The Dodo.
I read that Mr. Doodoo, but
Mr. Doodoo.
whichever you want to go with.
yeah, God Viz, change it back to Zudu. It's not Doodoo.
And Bartolomeo's face is he's just melting into himself.
Yeah.
See, this was another opportunity where Bartolomeo could have said Mr. Zorro instead of Zolo. Didn't that happen? That happened once.
And then Alexi can
say it
make
again,
misleading tweets.
Oh, Zorro is going to be in the Viz chapter. So right, this chapter. Steve.
Yeah, I want to begin right where we left off here with Zoro and Pika. Really cool. I think just my perspective on things have changed. I think if I was reading this back when I first got into One Piece, I would have been freaking out. Like, this is so awesome. Zoro is a badass. He's the man. Yeah. These days now, I think I like characters more like Usopp, who have to struggle to beat the villains instead of just coming in all freaking badass, just like, you can't stop me. Shoot. I block everything you do. It's like, and then I kill you with one shot. Stuff that appealed to me as a kid, it seems to not appeal to me the same way. Not that I'm not enjoying Zoro being a badass. I really have to appreciate it. But I think I'm coming to the sad realization is, I think the chances of Zoro having a pretty even-sided one-on-one battle are going to be really far between from now till One Piece ends. I guess it's because he has to get on the same level as Mihawk to become the greatest swordsman. So I guess he can no longer struggle against the likes of, say, Hachi or the Meow Band brothers.
I don't know. I think we're still going to see one-on-ones with Zoro.
Yeah.
He's the guaranteed one-on-one fight character for every arc.
Well, and here's a question: do you think that this was the KO? Because no. He obviously got Pika pretty good, but he's still he's looking at Zoro, or he's conscious. He's not blacked out at the last panel there. So.
No, I'm pretty sure Pika's gonna have something up his sleeve that might show Zoro a little bit of trouble. But like I've said on previous episodes, Zoro has this newfound cockiness where nothing really phases him. And I thought that was just a product of the time skip during Fishman Island. But he totally paid no mind to Monet, and he's paying no mind to Pika, who can make himself a rock giant, and Zoro still does two shits. Zoro's more concerned, how did you learn how to fly?
Yeah. So Josh Kocurek, how did you feel about this chapter?
Oh, guys, I thought it was amazing.
Probably one of our most enjoyable recaps yet, right, Josh?
Yes, I laughed, I cried. It's amazing. No, so yeah, I guess I'm just jumping in on at the end here, huh?
No, you were totally on the entire time.
Yeah.
So what happens on the first page here, Steve?
I'm guessing just, you guys are just rounding off this part.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I thought it was a great chapter. I actually, believe it or not, just finished reading it on the plane back from Comic-Con. So it was, very cool. Love all the setup and everything that's going on. So
neat. I'm trying to think.
How was the flight?
Trying to build my enthusiasm here. I'm not. I just got back in, so.
No, it's fine. It's fine. We'll get you there.
Cool. I appreciate it. So, what were you talking about, Steve?
I was just talking about the ending with Zoro. Just how he doesn't care. He doesn't care who you are anymore. He's just way too cocky. Trying to think of else. Talked a lot about Kanjuro. really like his powers. It might be one of my new favorite. It might be one of my favorite Devil Fruit abilities, though I think I am a bit biased. Always happy to see Dellinger, and to round it off, I think I totally forgot about the Nutcracker ghoulish giant things. I think probably I can only assume, like, I think I just treat them so much like they're fodder. I really hope they're kind of a bigger deal and they're more of a struggle. Like maybe someone has to stay behind to take them down, like Cavendish, much to his
heroes.
Yeah, that may be true. Because we haven't seen what's his face, Diamante, since kind of this part of the battle started.
That's true.
And we really know nothing about his.
Well, they were both standing next to Doflamingo, Treble and Diamante.
But maybe this could be a Diamante thing. But I hope it's a big deal. I hope it's just not bigger enemies for them to punch.
Yeah, Steven.
Yeah, I agree. It was really cool to see Zoro do his thing. I do believe that there will probably be more to this at a later point, whether that means that Pika will use his powers to kind of reset the level, to do something drastic again, like he did when he rearranged the entire kingdom. But yeah, it doesn't seem like it should be that easy. But for now, it definitely seems like he's going to succeed in helping the three folks get past to the flower field. Let's see what else. It was an action heavy chapter. Not a whole lot of story advancement, but there were some things that were cleared up, like Cavendish's speech just sort of makes it obvious, in case it was not clear to everyone, that the only way out of this is to be Doflamingo. Don't be fooled by his story of letting anyone go. But yeah, for me, definitely the big takeaway was Kanjuro and his crazy powers. Can't wait to see more of this guy. And especially like him and Kinemon. Like, I have a feeling once we get all three of these guys with Momonosuke together, it's just going to be way over the top. Really looking forward to that. And it seems like it's another character that we've heard a lot about and has finally come into the story. So it definitely feels like we're getting closer and closer to a climax type situation.
We're gonna get a lot of Japanese-inspired sketch comedy with these three.
Yeah, that's
sort of on the same level as Shiki and his guys.
Yeah.
Well, I really did. I think the best comedy we've had in this arc, correct me if I'm wrong, was the Three Stooges, the fish,
by far.
Oh God, that was amazing.
Wait, what was it? The fish, the
cat,
the cat,
and the frog,
and the frog.
One thing I forgot to mention, maybe my argument's kind of null and void now, but my first reaction to Kanjuro debuting in this chapter is, as much as I was happy to see him and I really enjoy him, I kind of felt at first it was very shoehorned in. It's like, how about that law? I wonder what his childhood was like. Oh yeah, here's Kanjuro.
Yeah, but we've also been waiting for a very long time for just the Kinemon payoff.
I feel like we've been waiting for so many things, and then Oda gets us on track for something, and then when we're about to sink our teeth into it, it's just like, oh, and
the other thing, yeah.
Yeah, here's the other thing you've been asking about. It's like, I haven't asked about this in a while, Oda. God.
You might be a little too spoiled.
I feel like we're starting to get a little too spoiled. We're like the spoiled 16-year-old teenager girl at the teenager Sweet 16 party for...
You are doing a great job here, Steve.
I'm using too many nouns.
Any other final thoughts on the chapter?
Well, let's see.
Right.
On the topic of Kanjuro.
Yes. Good segue.
I promised you guys a story. This is... and I did some research on that just to see, because when the name popped up, I was like, how should I do this? And the Nuke Suzume, the sparrow who pops out of the wall, and it is based on a story. And I'm going to perform this story for you now. This is Rakugo, which is the Japanese kind of traditional storytelling style. And you will see how closely this is related to what happened in the manga.
Okay, so let's prepare ourselves here.
Yep, get ready. Our story happens at an inn in Odawara, a town in Sagami Province along the Tokaido Road connecting Edo and Kyoto. A man around 30 years old appeared before the innkeeper, whose name was Komatsuya Seibe. The fellow was wearing a kimono so faded and reddish from the sun that you could hardly tell it was originally a 5-crested black kimono, and it was tied with a sash that might have once been woven from silk. So they go inside to discuss terms. The man says he's going to stay for about 10 days. And when he asked if down payment was necessary, the innkeeper said, no, it's okay. You can pay on departure. He says, I'm going to drink a lot, okay? Just keep this straight so we're clear. I'm going to need a lot of alcohol. So he takes a bath, then he eats dinner, drinks a whole bottle of sake, and falls asleep. In the morning, he eats breakfast, goes off for a little stroll, comes back for lunch, drinks a liter of sake, takes a nap. Then he wakes up, has a bath, eats dinner, another bottle of sake, and passes out. Several days pass, so he's drinking an entire bottle of sake a night, plus a liter during the day. Well, as you can imagine, the innkeeper's wife is not very fond of this, and who can blame her? This guy is eating and drinking like a pig, and it would be one thing if he was highborn, but not with that outfit. You know, this guy, you could pull off those sleeves just by tugging on him. He does not, there's no way he has the money to pay for, a 10-day stay like this. So she says, well, just tell him, okay, sorry, sir, we'll require payment every 5 days. But the innkeeper already told him, hey, it's banned departure. It's cool. And he can't go back on that now. He gave this man his word. So eventually the wife and the other fellow who is going to take over the inn someday convince him, just at least go and get the money for the sake. So he goes up the stairs and the guest says, okay, what's your price? 1 3/4 ryo, which is the gold coins that they used in that day. He's like, oh man, that's so cheap. Just, throw in the cost of my tea and make it an even 2. I don't have it, but that's cheap. So the lady was right. This guy's flat broke. There are 3 ways he can fix the situation. One is somehow he comes across some money while he's staying there so he can pay him. 2, he dies before he has to pay up. Doesn't seem like an option. 3, if the innkeeper's entire family dies, then he won't have anyone he needs to pay. Okay, that's really going to happen. And he's not going to get any money for pawning off his gross old kimono. So we're at an impasse here. What happened? Well, the innkeeper has a way with broke guests. He recently put up a poor mounting framer, and he had the guy reframe a ragged old standing screen for his payment staying at the inn. So he asks this guy, what's your job? What do you do? And he says he's an artist. He's a painter. So how about this? You want to pay me something on this fresh new screen? It just got repaired. If he painted on a blank sheet of paper, you could sell it. But what if he's a bad artist? The painter looks at the screen and says, how you can tell I'm good? You can tell I'm a good artist because I don't have any money. See, okay, you got to be kidding me. So the painter, he brings out his inkstone and he says, all right, my ink's all clumped up. You need to wash it and grind it for me so I can paint. Well, why does the innkeeper have to do that? Well, if I have to do it myself, my arms will get tired and then I can't paint. Being a broke artist is quite the luxury. The innkeeper starts grinding the inkstone and he's like, oh yeah, it smells nice. The guy's like, oh yeah, you like that? Well, you've got a nose for quality. Oh, shut up. So the painter paints up his brush. He's got the ink. He paints 5 sparrows on the screen. So there you go. 5 sparrows for 2 ryo. Those are some damn expensive sparrows. And on top of that, he tells the innkeeper, he's like, okay, this is collateral for my stay. It's not payment. So if somebody comes along and demands to buy this from you, you must refuse them until I return. And then he leaves and just walks out the door. So you can imagine the marital argument that ensues after this. Now, the next morning, Innkeeper's wife is still angry. She refuses to get up and do the chores. So he has to go upstairs to open the windows, let in the fresh air. And all of a sudden, he hears chirping and flapping. Someone's got into the room. So he opens the sliding doors, and he finds out that the sparrows from the painting have just up and flown right out of the screen. They're just hopping around. They fly out the window. A few moments later, they fly back into the room and just pop right back into the screen. Isn't that something? So he tells his wife this, and she doesn't believe him. So next morning, she goes upstairs to open the window and let in the fresh air, and the sparrows fly out again. Now, this becomes such a stir. It's the talk of the town. The inn is just overrun with visitors. Business is booming. Even the lord of Odawara, Okubo Kagamori, he wants to come see the sparrows. He says he'll pay 1,000 ryo for it. But the man had a deal. He had an agreement. He can't sell the thing. He's like, I'm sorry, I can't do it. That only makes it more infamous because now he's the guy. This is the thing that even the Lord couldn't buy. So even more people are coming. They're so full. People are sleeping in the halls. They're sleeping in the bathroom. It's just crazy. And one day they have a guest. It's this refined gentleman, old guy in his 60s, and he wants to spend the night, but they're all full. So he just says, okay. But can I just see the screen? Can I go upstairs and see that? And when he sees it, he says, like, yeah, that's what I thought. These sparrows, they're going to die. How can they die? They're just paintings. These sparrows have the strength to fly out of the painting, but they will die if they run out of stamina. Now, I can paint you something that will keep them alive. So the innkeeper is skeptical. He's like, well, but, I've got so many people coming here for this painting. I don't want to ruin it if this guy paints something crappy. But the guy says, it'll be worth 2,000 ryo after this. So he brings out the ink, and he has the innkeeper scrape it up for him. Yeah, smells nice. Well, at least you have a nose for it. Yeah, we heard that one already. So he picks up his brush, and he says he'll paint a birdcage. And now they have something to rest upon. So the next day, when he opens the window, the sparrows fly out, come back to the painting, and they just pop right into the cage and rest on the perch. And now Lord Okubo comes back, and he's like, 2,000 ryo, shut up and take my money. But he can't sell it. So one day, this very splendid palanquin comes up. And a man dressed in a very fine kimono emerges. It's the original painter. It's that the guy who was dressed like a bum before. Now he's all decked out in finery. And he officially presents the inn with the ownership of the painting. It's yours now. Thank you for keeping your word. But they tell him there's this birdcage there now. And he's like, oh, okay. Well, maybe I'll go see it. And he goes upstairs. He takes a good look at this, and then he gets down on the ground, puts his head on the ground, and bows to it. And he says, oh, it's good to see you again. As it turns out, the old guy who painted the birdcage was the painter's father. So that explains why they had told the same bad joke. And the painter says, I have much to learn still. Please forgive me for my lack of consideration and the misfortune I've put you through. And the innkeeper's like, what are you talking about? You've painted a masterpiece. It's so valuable. How can you have disrespected your father? You're this shining example of a son. And he says, oh, no, yes, I have put him through misfortune. For you see, I've forced him to become the cage drawer. Now, in Japanese, the word for cage is a homonym for the word for a palanquin, which, is it's a little box that people sit in, and it has planks sticking out of the side, and the guys hoist it up on their shoulders, and they walk around the town. So that's, what fancy people move around in without horses or what have you. And in those days, the palanquin, the cage drawer, the guy who pulls it around, those guys were the lowest of the low. They were like, you might as well be pushing on a shopping cart with aluminum cans in it, living on the street. That's the kind of thing that that being a palanquin bearer meant in these days. So he's like, I have ruined my father, in this kind of symbolic way, because I have forced, even though it's through a pun, he has forced him to become one of these guys. And that is the end of the story.
This is both interview time and piece together. We have very special guest from Funimation, Josh Kocurek. Hey, how are you doing, Josh?
I'm doing all right. How are you guys doing?
Good. It's nice to have you on again. So, for those who don't know, Josh is the brand manager for One Piece for Funimation. You also do... There's a lot of shows. You do Dragon Ball and all those, right? Battle of Gods.
Space Dandy.
Space Dandy. Yep. So...
Many,
the list goes
others.
on,
the
man.
list goes
Yeah.
on. Those are the two that pop into my head immediately. So you've probably had a pretty busy weekend, if I have to guess.
Yes, definitely. So Funimation was, we sent a big team out to San Diego Comic-Con, and it was actually my first time going, so it was quite the experience for me.
I could imagine. What did you think of it?
I thought it was great. I wasn't really prepared for just the sheer amount of people. I know everyone's always like, yeah. There's always going to be tons of people there. You're not going to be able to walk anywhere. Like, yeah, just getting like 2 city blocks, like sometimes took like 10 minutes. Like it was crazy, but I did get to see a lot of cool stuff. We had a lot of cool things like Funimation wise, we're doing our big push for Battle of Gods coming out. So, I was plenty busy, put it that way.
From what I've seen, the dub is both hilarious and very cool looking. The Vegeta clip. Anyway.
Yeah.
So you also were at Anime Expo. We got to listen to the panel, but you got to make some big announcements there. If you want to talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, totally. So I guess just rewinding back to AX, we debuted the Film Z trailer. We announced the cast list on that. Excuse me. And then we started talking about what our plans are for the movie. So we'll have a premiere at Otakon, which is coming up here very soon, next week, right?
Yeah, it's like 9 days from now. Yeah,
only a week away.
Yeah,
has that even been? Is that being announced here first?
No, that was announced at the panel.
Yeah, and so we're still working out on our end with the convention, like the time, the date, the location, and everything that comes with it. So once we have all that programming and stuff figured out, we'll put out a bigger announcement so everyone knows what to do and where to go and what we have in store for them. So I'm really excited about that. Working on a lot of cool stuff for Otakon, and then I know I had mentioned it before. I think probably the last time I was on, but we're still working to do some sort of like limited theatrical run with it. We're actually talking to a partner right now, so there's definitely a couple options we're weighing. But my goal personally is just to make sure that we can get even if it's not like a run, just like a one night event kind of screening.
Yeah, of course.
In a lot of major cities, and so I guess all I can really say at this point is stay tuned for that. So that's kind of one of my pet projects I'm working on right now, alongside everything else. So
cool. That's good to hear.
Totally.
You also, I forgot, at San Diego Comic-Con, you released some of the names for the season 6 cast.
Yes. Yeah. So, we wanted to save some stuff for Comic-Con, just because we had so much going on at AX. So I was like, let's save One Piece season 6 stuff for that. We made our Thriller Bark announcement, and most of the cast there. A lot of like new people, first timers, or some people that have played other roles in the past. Like usual.
I'm very excited about that.
Yeah. Did you guys have any particular ones that you loved?
Steve, I feel like, is our go-to.
My expertise. I was stunned when Ian Sinclair was announced, and absolutely blown away. I couldn't believe it. I don't like. I don't have like one favorite over the other. I'm just giddy to see new actors announced for these characters, and I'm looking forward to all of them. Some of them I am familiar with. Some of them are going to be completely new to me. So I don't
Which
really
says
have...
something for Steve.
Yeah. Well, then again, I don't watch every single Funimation property. Sorry, Josh. But no, I look forward to like everything dubbed because I'm always curious to see how they're going to sound. But I'm just all for, you know, everybody. And I know the voice of Kumasi, Ray Hurd, is also going to be the voice of Kizaru in Film Z. So
how could he balance those two characters?
I can't wait to see that vocal range and see how the two characters differ. But the Thriller Bar characters are all like
super exaggerated.
How could I bluntly put this? Crazy. So I'm sure
it's all about, you got to nail that laugh. Like,
yeah.
right?
It's Thriller Bark is the arc of annoying laughs, and no, I'm really looking forward to hearing everybody. So I don't have any personal favorites.
Cool.
And
yeah, so I'm a big fan of Perona. I think I've made that pretty obvious. So
Bless you.
I'm looking forward to seeing how Felicia does with that. So I actually haven't heard her yet. So once I get back in the office, I'm going to start digging through some footage and see what we can put together to kind of start showing people what we have in store for them.
And then you can finally get that Perona trailer everyone's been asking for.
Exactly. I'll be like the only guy. I'll just, view it a few thousand times. It'll be fine.
It'll add up. And there's also some cool special features I saw in that. We're going to see Stephanie Young in the booth and commentaries and all that cool stuff. Yep. Sorry. Anything else cool? I think so. The next cool of One Piece event is going to be Film Z in Otakon, I think.
Yeah, and then after that, we kind of, we're going to get back into the groove of, releasing the season sets and the collections. And I think we're back on pace for that. We had that little bit of a lull there because we had to flip-flop some scheduling from picking the movie up. But I think, at that point, it's just business as usual.
Yeah, it's September 30th, right?
Yeah, and so there's a little bit of confusion that I guess I could clear up, and I might be preempting some of the questions that came in. But yeah,
Beautiful.
So we actually we have a partnership with Amazon that we're trying a bunch of new things with. One of the cool things about working with Amazon is that they they're increasingly getting more and more interested in what we do with anime. I mean, they've seen. Just the sales that they're seeing between, like DBZ and Titan and things like that. They're like, look, we need to start working on a stronger partnership. So, we're doing a few timed exclusive deals with them. So, so for season 6, voyage 1, it's going to be exclusive to Amazon for, I think it's like the first 45 days. And then you can buy it, everywhere else we're used to, whether it be, Funimation.com or Right Stuff or, in retail stores, things like that. So, and it's just something we're trying out. We're also doing it with Fairy Tail as well. Just to see, because if we can get better placement with them and, just give them kind of work closer with them and see how it works out.
They're pretty big, I hear. So
yeah, it's an interesting thing. Like they approached us with the idea and we're like, hell yeah, we'll do it. I mean, it's, we're not going to say no to Amazon, but it's just this is kind of one of the first ones we're doing with it. So
we'll go out and buy some One Piece on Amazon because that's the only place you could get it for 45 days. It's not like that's not where I buy it anyway. Okay, so let's go through some piece together questions.
That just eliminated half the questions.
It did. So I'm just going to go through all questions. I mean, Josh is caught up, so you could give opinions on other things too. Okay, let's start on One Piece Reddit. Rira says, since it's con season, if you could attend a con with any character, Steve, don't even answer this, who would you go with?
And my answer, I've lived it.
That's true, you did live it. Steven?
I know I definitely would not want to go with Bartolomeo. Just because I'm sure he would be so annoying, like either fawning over all the cosplayers because he thinks they're the real people, or feeling jealous or like that's disrespectful to Mr. Luffy or something like that. So.
Josh?
I'd bring Chopper with me. Just because he's so cute.
You'd be the center of attention.
Yeah, you never
exactly.
You would never get to walk around too much. Well, you'd have to wear him on your head like Law.
Yeah, that's probably the way.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
I actually have a serious answer.
No.
and it's a total cop out.
Answer to this?
Yes. Yes, I've thought about it long and hard. You know, just looking out my window as the rain falls. No, it's kind of a cop out, and I think it's an insult to all cosplayers. But I don't want to go with Kinemon because I'd be like, okay, dude, this is what I want to cosplay as. Give me that outfit.
I don't know. Cosplayers would probably appreciate like once in a while not having to do it.
Oh yeah, because then what if I entered like a cosplay contest and won? It's like he didn't even make the costume.
Okay, maybe not in that. Maybe not in that.
His samurai buddy did it in a second. It's cheating.
See the shifty eyes going on after that. Yeah, whatever. Bouncing Hyena says, how long do you believe that Bellamy has known Doflamingo for? And do you believe that the dialogue in the last chapter implies that they were close enough to have had conversations about what they wanted to do with their lives? It seemed like that was the first time that conversations happened. How close do you think they are?
Well, we really don't know how old Bellamy is.
He seems like a younger guy.
Yeah,
like Luffy's age or younger.
I would
early
think
20s.
Yeah.
No, I think a little bit older.
No, I think Steven's. I like Steven's opinion here. Do we know the answer to this? Has he given an age?
That's a good question. Greg is throwing a book against the wall.
I don't think Doflamingo and
Bellamy's birthday is this day.
I think it's Doflamingo finally coming out and saying, like, look, he always wanted to do the complete opposite of what I wanted to do. And Bellamy's going to be acting like that kind of friend who's, like, he's so concerned about his friendships. Like, why didn't you tell me this before? I would have said I'm sorry. You know, I would have apologized. It's like, no, you're apologizing. That's the problem. You're caring too much, Bellamy.
You were going through an entire breakup relationship.
No, it's okay. I could change. Yeah. I could change. It's not you, Bellamy. It's me.
Yanko.
Bellamy totally seems like a guy who bases like all of his personality around Doflamingo, and I think Doflamingo's just like, dude, just whatever. Keep your distance. Give me some space.
Allow me to reenact a scenario. Straw Hats say, "Oh, we're looking for the Sky Island," and Bellamy's like, "Oh man, Sky Island, that's so stupid. That doesn't exist. You're stupid for thinking that." And Doflamingo says, well, "I don't know. It doesn't really matter to me. They could believe in it whether they want to or not." Yeah, they could believe it whether they want to or not. Yeah. That's how Bellamy's acting.
He's a brown noser, and no one likes a brown noser. Yeah. Okay, that's next one. We actually have a question for Josh that has not been completely nullified from Yonko Productions, who says, I got to ask what happened to the digital distribution deals that caused the licensing contract of Season 6 to be reworked for more inclusivity of digital platforms. How well worded of him.
Wow.
Will we see One Piece on sites like Netflix, Google Play, iTunes, for example, in the future, or is that not being pursued at the moment?
It's definitely being pursued. I don't want to get too technical, but a lot of the depending on what platforms you're pursuing, everyone has their own agendas. So Netflix wants something and iTunes wants something, and so one of the big things there is making sure that they're not looking for exclusivity. So we want to be able to put One Piece on as many different platforms as possible. So just depending on whatever your choice is when it comes to watching it or buying it or streaming it, that it's there. So a lot of the big ones, we have great relationships with like Xbox and PlayStation and iTunes. So those are definitely happening really soon. The big thing with that, I guess I am going to get a little technical. So nice. In particular stores, especially iTunes, which is like one of our biggest ones, you have to have closed captioning on all of your shows in order for them to put it up. And so while we do have, obviously like English dubs for everything that we do, and subs, closed captioning is kind of like a completely different format. And so Yeah, and so in order to go in there and start posting, this large catalog, we have to go back and do closed captioning for all of the episodes of One Piece.
Not that many, though. That can't be an issue.
Job. So right now we're just kind of, and the process is already underway. It's just we have to weave this into everything else we're already doing. So, the same team that is, that works on our simulcast, that puts up new shows every week and things like that. We're weaving in these One Piece episodes, chunks at a time. And as they knock those out, then we'll be able to start putting those up on all these platforms that require closed captioning.
If only the dub was more faithful and said things that made no sense with the mouth flaps. Ugh. No. Anyway, Snakebit 1995 says, so we saw that Dellinger has a fin on his back, so this is the one Steve kind of co-opted.
No, I didn't, because I didn't read the emails.
Oh, this is Reddit. So
I didn't read the Reddit. You're wrong.
Do you read anything? Since the fin appears and disappears, do you think Dellinger has the fish fruit powers, or some other weird fishman who could hide his fin? Josh is the only one who didn't really address this, so I'll give this one to Josh. If you want.
I think something like a fish power would probably be kind of lame. I know he's not a fish man. That's obvious. So I don't know. Maybe he's got.
That'd be quite the ironic twist. It's like, is Dellinger a boy or a girl? Neither. I'm a fish man.
Right, there you go.
What a swerve.
I haven't really put a lot of thought into his origin.
Steve has.
I'm sure.
It's more like I haven't cared. But there's really nothing else that. Unless he's some sort of dragon boy, but
that would be way cooler. Like a dragon, dragon fruit, way cooler than fish fruit.
Well, I mean, he was making a fake dragon fruit that Momonosuke ate, but I doubt that Dellinger is involved with that. But anyway, who knows? My name is Asak Schrader says, this is a somewhat off-topic question. Perfect, but because it's this podcast.
Well, Asak Schrader, you could go fuck yourself.
From a real... Wow.
Get it?
Oh, I do get it now. It took me a minute.
You didn't get it? That's okay. I wasn't really telling him to go F himself.
No, I get it.
We only did that joke like 2 weeks ago, so.
We did actually do that joke.
Oh, we're doing it again.
From a real lifetime perspective, Luffy's crew was out of the main storyline for close to 2 years. From the chapter Kuma split them up to the chapter they reunited. Do you think that this was a happy coincidence that the 2-year time skip was a real life 2 years? Or was it Oda purposely writing out the gang for 2 years so we could share Luffy and the crew's excitement when they met up in the story? So purposeful or coincidence?
I think it was probably mostly coincidence.
I think.
Wait, how would it be a coincidence again? I kind of misheard some of that.
Oh, so if that it took 2 years for us to actually see the crew in real time in the manga. So as we were reading it, there was actually 2 years before the crew came back into the main story.
It was 2 years of us seeing the entire crew together? Or
of us reading the part where Luffy, Shawbuddy, Impel Down, Marineford, the flashback, all that took 2 years while the crew was off doing their thing. And when the time skip happened was 2 years after they got split up at Shawbuddy.
I think that's a coincidence, but if it's not, wow, Oda, you really know how to pace yourself.
Yeah, I think maybe he just realized that once he got there and was like, 2 years? Yeah, this works.
What I think probably happened is he got to a point and then he's like, if I drag these chapters out enough, maybe it'll be 2 years. I don't know. It's probably like 50-50.
But that's much easier to do.
Yeah, that would have been some feat.
Now, a fun fact here, I was actually talking with Zach about this earlier, but I guess our current webmaster, re-indexed all the old episodes on iTunes so that like if you subscribe to iTunes, that you can automatically download all of them going back to the very first episode.
Yes.
Yeah, that starts happening to me.
Nice.
I was
He was
getting
nice enough
confused.
to do that. Yeah.
So I
getting very
started listening to some of those really early episodes. Against Zach's desires.
Yes.
But so when that started, you guys, like the manga, it was right at the very end of Impel Down, like right as Luffy was leaving to go to Marineford. So it was before Marineford, it was before the flashback, it was before the 3D 2Y thing.
That was around episode 100, I think, right?
Yeah, and Zach made this off-the-cuff comment where he was like, I wonder what the crew's going to do. Like, do you think they're just going to go back to Shabandi and they're just going to be waiting around? They're just going to be waiting around, like, sitting there, like, where's Luffy? Looking at their watches, and it's going to be, like, 2 years later. Like, you literally said 2 years later.
Maybe I knew. Maybe I knew the entire time.
Man, a part of me really wants to.
What episode was that?
That's crazy.
I don't know. It was within the first, like, 6 or so.
It's so crazy.
6? Yeah. Oh, the first 6 episodes of the podcast?
Yeah. It was way early.
Okay, I got to find that.
A part of me really wants to go back and listen to those episodes, but it's also kind of like.
No, you don't.
It's kind of like watching old home movies where it's just.
It's exactly like that. Yeah.
Steve, why would you say that?
Steve, I went through all of those episodes for that 5th year thing, and it was painful.
Zach has made sacrifices so that you people could have your 5-year anniversary special.
Clip show. No, that's kind of weird. And of course, I purposely did that. Typical Tyrian says, how many more islands do you think the Straw Hats will visit before they reach Raftel? Everyone, guess a number. Quick, come on.
6.
12.
42.
That's the answer to everything. Slates of Glory says, so at the end of chapter 749, we saw a silhouette of what may have been Korra's zone that appeared very similar to the Doflamingo with a pointed shin that we saw in chapter 0. What if Korra wasn't Doflamingo's brother at all, but he was actually just a string clone of Doflamingo convinced gullible Kidlaw was a separate person?
That is messed up.
That would be some sick stuff, man. Yeah.
I kind of like it because
really
Doflamingo
cool.
is pretty sick.
It kind of wouldn't make sense though because Law's kind of already savvy to the fact that Doflamingo could duplicate himself.
Yeah.
And but what if he was that? What if he was that oblivious to it? It's like, oh yeah, I know how I can make a duplicate of myself. Yeah. And it's like, well, that one of my duplicates was Korra's own all along.
But the problem is,
it was me. It was me all along. Law. He's like, no.
But the
Everything I
problem
did was a lie.
The problem is though that he's like kind of the one who took Law away from the flock, so he did the exact opposite of what Doflamingo would have wanted.
Well, then it's just weak story writing, Zach.
Okay. It's a messed up thing to think.
You know how Doflamingo is just messing up all the time?
Yeah,
That's just one of Doflamingo's ideas he thought was so brilliant, but really, in the grand scheme of things, was not. It's
Oops, the flame
I'll
fruit.
get him to think that my way is wrong, and then he'll turn against me. It'll be a riot. And I was not expecting him to devise this plan to take down the Smile Factory and to take me down and have Kaido coming after me. Not one of my better ideas. I'm sorry, guys. But at least we still have the flame fruit, right?
Okay, this next one comes from Tracker OC, and even though we've mentioned this several times, I love the way he puts it. Question about the manga. Is it time for Dellinger to come out of the closet as a fishman? Is he a shark type? So we did go over that. We won't go over it again, but I do like how that's phrased. A bigger question.
I'm kind of done with fishmen now. Please, fishermen are so last week.
A bigger question about the story. Luffy essentially doesn't care about backstories early on, he says, so explicitly about once per arc. That happens about once per arc. However, he ends up in scenarios that deeply affect his crew due to chance. For example, his fight with Arlong just happened to take them into a room Nami needed destroyed. Did Oda save us from having a tiresome, brooding, grim character? Hey, Chigo. Sasuke. That's what he wrote. I did the cough for him. By having...
That sounded more like a sneeze.
Don't criticize my coughing, Steve.
Your coughing is weird.
By having Fate or Chance show him the critical bits mid-fight. I mean, I don't think Luffy was ever in danger of becoming a Sasuke or an Ichigo, but maybe.
I think it just makes for more interesting storytelling.
Yeah. It's also
Yeah.
It's also a good aspect of his personality. I like that he doesn't care.
Yeah, I think the fate and the chance stuff is probably just economical storytelling. In other words, making sure things happen so that the themes come out as broadly and intentionally as possible. So I think that's literally just a product of the way that Oda tells his story. I think as far as having a brooding character that's just not part of Oda's personality, and he talks about how all the different characters are sort of he's sort of living out different parts of his mind vicariously through them. So I think that's just not who Oda is, and he doesn't find that interesting, and that's why there aren't really any characters who are like that in One Piece.
And if any is, it would probably be Law. At least at this point in time.
He's the closest,
Yeah.
He's not doing very well right now. Okay, we're going to go through emails quick. If you ask us 4 questions, I will go through them quick here. So Nolan has 4 questions. First, do you think Kuzan's going to become the N word that we don't use? Do you think he's going to become part of the crew? Not that one.
Oh, okay. No.
No.
Who?
Perfect. Second, do you think that the one person who was missing from Block D that was mentioned in a recent episode was Sabo?
What?
No.
Third,
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think he was ever established as being in the fight because he just swapped with Luffy. Yeah.
third,
Oh wait, the Black D guy was the schmuck that was Bartolomeo's underling. Right?
Oh yeah, that's probably who it was. What was his name?
No, yeah. Well, there's that dude, and then there's of course Catman, who was Maynard.
Maynard. When you said Catman, I was thinking of Perfect Hair Forever, which I know is an obscure reference. Third, do you think that Corazon has the op fruit and used it to cure Law, and then Law got it when Korra died?
Interesting theory.
That's not bad.
I like that one. That's a tragic everything there. And then it was his clone all along. Anyway. Last one is not a question, so I'm not going to ask. No, but if Robin's fruit was a Logia, she would turn into Little Robin's if she was cut. That's just reminding me of that Itchy and Scratchy thing with the Fantasia thing. Do you remember where it just cuts up Itchy? Panicio.
Don't you lie.
Is that guy like basically positing that like if she generates more Robins, they would all start at the moment of conception, so it's just like little fetuses popping up or something?
Wow, now you're getting into a real debate here.
Yeah, now we're getting to some scary territory here.
Obviously, Robins begin at... I don't even... Brayden has a question. I'm at the point where I do think that the time skip truly marks a halfway point of the story, but I feel as if, even though it is the halfway point, it doesn't mean that the second half couldn't be much longer. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think that the second half will be longer than the first half, or somewhat shorter? Or somehow shorter, considering Luffy wants to fight all 4 emperors, and it's taken this long before the crew has even come face to face with one. I'm seeing the New World half being significantly longer than the half before it.
Okay, if One Piece is over 120 volumes, I'm gonna need a room just to hold all my.
Well,
One Piece
get
volumes.
A room ready.
Get a room.
I think he doesn't know what the word halfway point means, because that would be like the middle of it, right? So I think it's still possible to be the halfway point. I don't, the way that I see some of the stuff being set up, especially with the other supernovas, even though Luffy wants to fight all of them, I don't think he will. I think maybe 1 or 2, and then possibly there's some overarching bigger battle that happens later, but I think he's right that at this pace, it's going to take a long time if it's just going to be one after the other. But so I don't think he's actually going to fight all 4 of them.
All right, so let's just do some quick math. The Sorry, guys.
Oh,
So the volume that would be the quote unquote halfway point here would be 61, right?
That was the one that was the mirror image of the original cover, right? 61 was yeah, okay.
So Oda said he has 10 to 12 years left. Let's say he has 12. And then I'm going to get out a calculator. Then he says he has 12 years left, and there's 4 volumes per year, which is...
why are we doing this?
which is... so that's 48 more volumes left? Right? From
yeah.
From where we are.
4 times 12 is 48.
So, and we've gone through... What are we up to now? 70... What?
74.
So plus 13. So that actually would be exactly halfway if it were 12 more years. That would be 61 more volumes from the halfway point, which would be 122 volumes. So
yeah,
it's possible that that's actually the halfway point. That means, though, if it's not the halfway point, it's going to go on for more than 12 years, which is a scary thing.
I have no proof behind this. Is just a gut feeling on my part, but I think we are more than halfway through it. I don't think it's going to be. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be
17 more years.
Yeah.
No, 120 volumes is if the time skip were halfway through.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to reach 120.
You
That's
know?
what I'm saying. Yeah.
We should really play like a Price is Right game and then reconvene in like 20,
Oh, it's
30.
funny how Steven was talking about how, you actually said this in one of the early episodes. Maybe years down the line, he was like, hey, so I was listening to episode 330, and you would not believe the stuff you were saying.
Liam Tasker has a question. Anaru's cover story established that aliens exist in One Piece. Do you think that the Straw Hats will ever encounter any?
I'm sure they're going to come across Anaru, and again, well, I don't think I forget the name of the moon, not the moon men. I forgot the little guys that are under, I almost call them the Moonanites. But Anaru's new underlings, I'm sure they'll meet them, but I don't think they really count as aliens because they were made on that planet, on Earth. I guess we could call it Earth.
One Piece world.
I don't know. Maybe.
Your primitive 3 Earth dimensions. We have 10.
Jeff Bolton, this is an interesting question. So I'm actually going to read the whole thing. A friend of mine with some exposure to American comics has recently expressed some interest in manga, so naturally I have been talking up One Piece as much as possible. When talk comes around to how many volumes are out, he says things like, "That's insane, way too nerdy for my wife to deal with." When I told him about Shonen Jump, he scoffed at the $25.99 subscription and said my wife would never go for that. When I asked him why, he said, "My wife is kind of an asshole." I honestly don't know what to tell him that doesn't involve reading scanlations. So, have any of you ever had a significant other who gave you shit for your hobbies? Mine thinks my obsession with One Piece is endearing, so I have a keeper.
Hey, how about I start?
Yeah, go ahead.
I had a significant other that didn't support me doing the podcast. And now I'm alone. No, it's okay.
You made the right choice.
Yeah, I did. I got all my friends here as Steve continues to do to act out what he's saying, even though no one can see it, they can only hear it. I just put out my arms like I'm reaching out for my friends, and then they sink because no one's here.
Mine is okay with it before 10 p.m. and it's 10:04. What?
But significant others, well, the thing is, I can only talk about exes, so you can only assume where that went. Only one kind of like related to it because they had similar interests, but then I think I totally embarrassed myself by proving that I am the much bigger geek. But no, shit happens.
Anyone else want to take a stab?
I used to see some really I don't know how to describe it, some very misogynist posts on like forums like if you went out with like a girl and she told you, hey man, you couldn't like read One Piece or watch wrestling anymore, would you still go out with them? And like guys are like, nah man, screw that.
I got Nami. It's just fine.
I've got my body pillow.
Yeah. I had probably, I was like 6 years ago now. I used to collect a lot of figures, so I had a pretty bad hankering for spending a lot of my spare change on nice PVC figures and stuff like that. And luckily, that's kind of passed. But my girlfriend at the time back then was, every time I would get like a new box in the mail, she would give me that side eye and be like, "Oh, I know what this is," and so she'd give me crap about that and stuff like that. It was never like anything like super, horrible for the relationship, but it was one of those things where I had to always constantly defend myself and explain, be like, "No, you don't understand. This one was, this was a Comic-Con exclusive. It's totally worth it. It's fine. It's fine.
Cost $500.
Yeah." So.
Yeah, but I don't know. I can't really say anything else too serious, but it's kind of more like grow up. And, well, I did, kind of. But not on the inside. But the calling someone's wife an asshole thing, it just reminds me of what dude said. Like, that's like the worst thing you could call a woman. Because, I don't know. I think it's...
So, yeah, Steve, time for our favorite segment.
Oh, piece of tweet.
Yeah, that one. Steven, do you want to?
No, that's
it. That's it. Okay, we're going with it. Okay, fine. I can't. Okay,
can't put that one back.
Okay,
it's like Pandora's box, man. I opened it now.
Yeah. So let's see. Question about Amazon. This one comes from John, who says, will you ever do another segment on Greg's column? We have to wait for Greg to come back, hopefully soon, and then sure. Danny says, do you think Oda has written himself into a corner by needing to have... Oh, I have done this question.
Yeah, you've done that one, silly.
Let's go to the next one. Muhammad Adil says, out of curiosity, what's the reason behind we did that? Amazon. I
don't know what direction you're reading in.
It's some weird, like, zigzaggy way. Muhammad, though, does have a question we haven't asked. Have there been talks about releasing individual saga box sets like East Blue, Alabasta, Skypiea, etc.? For Josh.
Not necessarily by saga. We are still looking at options for just doing a larger box sets that would combine like the collections that we already have. So instead of, buying 24 at a time, you're looking at like, 50, 60 plus episodes at a time. But making it more of like a collector's edition style with, like cool packaging and inserts and lots of fun stuff that like the real like big fans would enjoy. But I mean, at this point, I think just the way that the episodes were laid out originally, because I don't know what was going on when we first started releasing these, but we have no idea when this is going to end. So it's very difficult to plan out like DVD releases and that type of structure based off of a story we don't know the end to. So at this point, it's like they were never really structured around the actual storytelling arcs. We're kind of trying to fix that now, but before it was more or less just an episode number kind of thing. So,
and you can run into the issue that Viz has, where they they subtitle their volumes based on the arc, but once they caught up, then it was like, okay, well, what is this now? Is this they started calling them like the New World arc, but it's been a couple separate arcs since then. It's like, okay, well, are you going to be stuck calling it that for the rest of the series, or what? You run into tricky situations of like classification and how to tell what's going to come ahead.
It's just I just find it ironic because I know when season 4 started coming out, I was seeing some people's questions like, One Piece used to be released on these collection sets. Is that still going to continue? And I just laughed to myself like, oh yeah. It was always collections first. Now it's like I feel like if you do release these ultimate box sets, you're gonna get some like hands raised like, One Piece used to be released on these collections, or that was the original format.
That's just me just pointing out what people say. Yeah, that's me starting fights. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we'll definitely make it worth people's while, either if they already own it or if they've been kind of holding off to just being able to bite off a bigger chunk all at once. So it's just walking that line.
For the people that are really taking a shot in the dark.
Eric asks, would you rather see Kanjuro's art or Giola's art in a gallery?
Kanjuro's, because that'd be well, I don't know. It's like, when you think about it, both of their art kind of comes to life, even though one's kind of already alive. It's just turned into art. I think Kanjuro's is slightly more impressive, but he doesn't have the skills Jola does. I just dragged that on and just proved the point that this is a tough question.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I could choose.
It's tough.
I love them both.
But Jola's more annoying, so I'll go with Kanjuro.
Yeah, way more annoying. I mean, it's also art style. I mean, it depends on what you're into.
Mm-hmm. Whichever's more artistic. Sorry, Stephen. Alex says, which of Doflamingo's armies would you guys like to hang out with, either for protection or because you find them interesting?
Whatever army Dellinger's in, whackity schmackity do. Is
that the answer?
Okay.
Well, that's my answer.
Okay. I guess that's all the answers.
I think you skipped one from Jackson G. He said Toei is doing Sailor Moon on a bi-weekly schedule. Yeah, right. Could success there affect One Piece? How One Piece is done? I don't think One Piece is gonna move to bi-weekly. That's changing. And then years from now, Steven listens to this podcast and he says, "Oh man." But nah, I don't think that's gonna happen.
Okay, so James says, what is the first thing you would draw, Steve, with Kanjuro's power?
Oh, this is tough.
A girlfriend.
Supports my anime habits.
And she thinks I'm the greatest. Yeah, she's basically a Michael Bay female character.
Jeez.
Just loves the douchebag character for no specific reason given, other than the fact he's the main character. Tough question. I think I would probably just... I'd either draw a bunch of animals that wouldn't kill me, or I'd draw like really cool vehicles and just, drive or fly around in them. Because driving around in fantasy vehicles is interesting. I am done with my answer.
Okay. What? You're done?
Yes, but it was so silent. I was like, should I keep...
I was trying to picture one of your fantasy vehicles, really.
The girlfriend car. It's my car and my girlfriend. All
right, so I think I'm going to end it there since this has been an exceptionally long piece together segment. Why don't we round off? This has been the unofficial One Piece podcast, episode 330 for the week of Monday, July 28th, 2014. Next week, I will predict the end of the series, so look forward to that. No, next week, we're going to have a great show as well. We're trying to get Greg on one of these episodes. He was trying to get on this one, but technical difficulties prevented that. So... as soon as he is able to come on, we will let you guys know, or you'll just find out listening to the episode. Otakon is coming up in a week and a half, 2 weeks from now. It's going to be, I think it's, August 9th through the 11th or something around there. It's that weekend. We're going to have a panel there. Make sure to show up. It's in Baltimore, Maryland. Yeah, that's all there really is to say about that. Huge thanks to Jeremy from MangaUK, and of course a huge thanks to Josh Kocurek of Funimation for coming on. It was a jam-packed episode. This is there's a lot on this episode, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. As we said, next week the manga's back. The anime will be back from its 1-week hiatus none of us knew about. And Toonami will be back as well. I actually went through last week's anime. I did all the note-taking, and I realized after that you guys did it, and I then listened to the anime recap like I should have in the first place. Sometimes when I'm on an episode and I'm on one segment, I forget I need to listen to that segment. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. But Steve, how could the good people out there contact us?
Well, you could go to our website. That's onepiecepodcast.com. Subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes. Check us out on social media at twitter.com/onepiecepodcast, facebook.com/onepiecepodcast, Twitter, I said Twitter, I mean onepiecepodcast.tumblr.com. Check us out on Stitcher Radio. Check us out on SoundCloud. You could also check out some of our videos on youtube.com/onepiecepodcast. Give us an email. You could always email us your piece together at onepiecepodcast@gmail.com. Also, we have our Reddit threads on the One Piece Reddit. I don't know the exact URL to that. Google it.
Reddit.com/r/OnePiece.
Oh, that makes so much sense. And of course, there's always our phone number, Zach.
That phone number is 347-497-MAJI.
MAJI.
That phone number again is 347-497-6254. Call anytime.
Call anytime.
With your questions, comments, theories, and reasons why you too could predict what happens accidentally at the end of One Piece. Really, really fun episode today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to check out OnePiecePodcast.com. William is putting up a lot of cool articles that are getting a lot of attention. We hit a record for the amount of hits we've had ever for our website in one day. To give you an idea of how many they were, it usually takes 2 weeks to get the amount we did in one day. I think the only other time we got close to that, we were using a different record system, so I'm not sure, was during the episode The Pirate's Life, which you may recall from a couple years ago. Anyway, though, for the unofficial One Piece podcast, my name is Zach.
And my name is Steve.
We'll see you next week, everyone. Goodbye.
Goodbye.